The 2025 rookie running back class is supposed to be one of the best classes in modern history. A really great rookie running back class. And through June 27th, every running back drafted in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft are 100% drafted in the DraftKings Millie Maker $20 contest. 100% drafted, every single one in the first 3 rounds. The first running back who is not drafted in 100% of the time is an early 4th rounder who's been drafted in just 16% of DraftKings Millie drafts as of June 27th. Can you guess who it is? Let me know in the comments who you think it is. By the way, I am a DraftKings partner this week, streaming DraftKings best ball drafts all week long. Really excited to do it. I've got a couple great guests today, starting with another DraftKings partner, Zachariason, going to be coming up after the break. And then in an hour, we've got Adam ShipMyMoney Scherer from Engame Syndicate joining as well. But before we get to JJ and let him answer my question, I am going to run a little ad here to let you know about an offer that DraftKings is giving out during DraftKings Best Ball Week. So I'll catch you in a minute with JJ. Football season is right around the corner, and there's no better way to lock in your fantasy dominance early than with Best Ball on DraftKings, where you draft once and ride your roster all season long. And right now, DraftKings is giving all customers a can't-miss offer. Draft one, get one. Enter a lineup in the $15 million Best Ball contest for just $20, and you'll score another Best Ball ticket to play free for a share of $15 million, giving you a second shot to win big. It's easy. Just draft your team once, no weekly management required, and let your top scorers automatically start each week. Across the whole season, every breakout star, every clutch play, every touchdown will count toward your quest for a share of $15 million. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app now to draft your $20 Best Ball lineup and get a second ticket to play free for a share of $15 million. That's 2 chances to win big without ever setting your lineup again. Draft one, get one. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Damn it. I mean, I meant to get rid of this. I didn't realize I'd put this back up. JJ, how are we doing today? Happy to have you on. I've been watching your streams regularly. You're doing them much more regularly recently. You've been doing DraftKings streams early in the morning for me. Usually you start before I'm awake. You've been doing a lot of DraftKings streams. How are those going for you?
Yeah, that's the dad life, man. I just, I drop the kids off at daycare and have some time. So I hop on today. I did one after going to the DMV this morning. So people weren't even awake this morning, and I had already, dropped the kids off, gone to the DMV, gotten some stuff done. That's what happens when there's different time zones and such. But yeah, it's been a good time, doing those drafts because, DraftKings drafts are a little bit more wild, wild west than what folks are used to. And I think that kind of creates more interesting content for people because it gets them to listen to what's going on in your mind. Sort of, you're not just like baked, just completely tied to ADP the same way. And I think that just makes for interesting content.
Absolutely. I love drafting on DraftKings in general. Do you then regret having to do them on stream? Because sometimes I'm like, am I giving away EV? Because when you do them on stream, you're getting a lot more people who are less casual about best ball, who are really serious about best ball. So it's a little bit less wild on streams. Have you found that to be the case, or is it still pretty wild?
I try to join at random times where people might not be able to, know when it's happening. Like sometimes I'll join, while I'm on stream. Sometimes I'm joining like 3 or 4 minutes before. Because the thing with DraftKings too is they have that 2-minute clock at the beginning of drafts. And so you're waiting anyway. And so sometimes I'll just do it way before. Like today, today's draft that I did was just like out of control, all over the place. But that's fun, man. That creates like a lot of good falling value, but a lot of different kind of builds that you don't expect yourself to be building.
Can I ask you about just some hot topics right now? Because you actually drafted a couple of them on your stream today. And I was sort of like, the way you talked about them sounds like you were less excited about some of the potentially rising stocks than I am. So first of all, at like pick 45 or so, Omarion Hampton fell to you. And to me, that's like, I love that pick, especially because I don't think you already had a running back. So to me, that's like an auto click. Yeah. For you, it sounded like it was not quite. Like you're a little bit less worried about Najee Harris. I guess you think that Najee Harris, you're reading this as Najee Harris seems to be fine. You're expecting him to be fine. You're not really boosting up Omarion Hampton. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I would say that I'm probably in the middle with it, where like I don't want to overstate and say that Najee Harris is not going to play, but I also am going to be cynical and say that, a lot of the information is like coming from his agent and stuff. And of course, his agent's going to say favorable things about him. And I know there's like a rap sheet report and stuff that came out yesterday that sounds optimistic that he's going to play. But like, Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like it's a pretty big deal if Omarion Hampton is getting first team reps pretty consistently over the next month while Najee Harris is sidelined. If he's sidelined, And yeah, I mean, like I'm cool with where I got him for sure in that draft, because especially, literally 3 or 4 days ago, he was being drafted at the 3-4 turn pretty consistently.
Right.
And then this new news came out, and now he's sort of back into the mid to more mid fourth, but into the late fourth. And so I think that's a good value place to still get him. Just given this news with Najee.
I suppose you're also, I mean, one of the things that you are best known for is you're looking for receiving upside with a running back. And I know, like I've talked with D-Bro before about how Greg Roman's offenses typically don't throw to the running backs. What are your feelings there? Do you think Omarion Hampton has any kind of like pass catching upside, or is that kind of, are you maybe less high on Omarion Hampton from a like base level because he's maybe not going to catch as many passes?
Yeah, it's really interesting because like I was someone who in the prospecting process, the pre-draft process, was higher than way higher than the market on Omarion Hampton. Like I liked him a lot as a prospect. He checked many of the boxes that my prospect model looks for. He had good projected draft capital, and then he got that draft capital. And from a real life perspective, this is where I think the fantasy world and the real life world sometimes doesn't mesh. Like there are some instances where, when Devon Achane got drafted by the Dolphins, I remember in my prospect guide writing about how awesome that fit was, like how literally perfect that fit was and how that could translate to fantasy football. This is a fit that is also perfect. Like you get a big bruiser like Omarion Hampton and pair him with Greg Roman and John Harbaugh in this offense, or Jim Harbaugh in this offense, and the mentality that Harbaugh brings to this team. That's a great fit. But the problem from a fantasy perspective is that I don't know if that great fit is going to translate as well to fantasy, given the way that Roman's offenses have operated historically. Roman's been an offensive coordinator for 10 years now, like 10 completed seasons in the NFL. His backfields have never ranked, like as a cumulative, some backfield, have never ranked in the top 10 in PPR scoring ever in 10 seasons. And, obviously, like when we look at statistics like that, we're then divvying up that number of points. So like if there are bell cows, then they can still be top 5 running backs because they're seeing a large chunk of that backfield scoring, but they haven't been in the top 10 once. And all of that has been dictated and driven by the fact that the average target share by his backfields, they've ranked 26.3. So they've ranked between 26th to 27th per season. And some of that's personnel driven. Like I don't want to like dismiss all of that. And I actually thought Omarion Hampton was a better pass catcher than others did as a prospect. So I am still like, I think he can be like a 10, 11% target share guy, but like Omarion Hampton going to Denver would have been the fantasy football match because he's going to get some early down work, but then in that environment, he's also going to get receiving work, right? And like that's what matters so much from a fantasy perspective. So like that's where I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself and too excited about Hampton in this spot because it could end up just being a better real life fit than fantasy fit.
Okay. Yep, that's reasonable. It's interesting because I've been like loving him, but I agree, especially in full PPR, it's a little bit like you really need that PPR upside. Do you have a guess for my question about the first running back who is not off the NFL draft board, who's not 100% drafted in DraftKings Best Ball?
Okay, so I'm thinking about, so it's not the first 3 rounds, right? So Caleb Johnson,
nobody in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, because Johnson was the only 3rd round pick, which means the 4th round. It's not Tootin. It wouldn't be Tootin. Tootin's got to be drafted everywhere. Cam Scadaboo has to be drafted everywhere. So I'm going to say it's Trevor Etienne. That's my answer.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Boom.
It is Trevor Etienne, 16% drafted in DraftKings Millie Maker as of June 27th. I saw one person got it on Twitter, have not been able to answer those. But yeah, Trevor Etienne is the first. Well done, JJ. And let's see if I have it up here. Eve Dokios on Twitter also got it. I don't know if anybody else got it there as well. But yeah, great guess there. What do you think of that? What do you think of Trevor Etienne as a pick? We should get into a draft here. I'll get into a draft while you answer that question. So if anybody wants to join, I am clicking in to a fast draft $20 Millie Maker right now. But how do you feel about Trevor Etienne if he's only going to be drafted in under 20% of drafts?
Yeah, I've actually started to lean into him quite a bit recently. And a lot of that is Chuba Hubbard last year. One of the main trends that I found this year in the draft guide, and I did an episode on this actually, is that when you look at middle round running backs, which I've defined as RB19 to RB42, this giant range of sort of like, guys who aren't the clear cut bell cows, but will fall in drafts. And these are the upside guys that really can make or break seasons in fantasy football. And Chuba is kind of in that range. But even though he's not always in that range, maybe he's a little bit higher, in that RB18, RB17 spot. Regardless, like this trend exists for players in there too. Target share matters so much for these guys from a production standpoint and how they finish their season versus expectation. If you're not over that 10% target share mark, your odds of really outperforming ADP expectation, they're just so slim. They're so much lower versus guys who are in that double-digit percentage target share area. Chuba Hubbard was in like a 12-ish% range last year on a per game basis. But one thing that really caught my eye this year is that when players and running backs in general have low yards per route run rates in the previous season, the following year, they tend to never, actually, since 2014, they've literally never had a double-digit percentage target share the following season. And so I think about Chuba Hubbard and what happened when Jonathan Brooks, came back and was active for a couple games last year. Well, they used him in kind of these higher leverage situations, whether it be pass catching or even close to the goal line. And I think back and I'm like, I think Chuba Hubbard's a good running back. Don't get me wrong. But I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a decline in usage this year a little bit because there really wasn't anyone in their backfield outside of him last year. And then you look at their moves that they made this year in this offseason. They signed Rico Dowdle, who is a do-it-all. He can play 3 downs if need be. He's good in pass pro. And then they draft Trevor Etienne, who's a good, Trevor Etienne is a pass catching prospect. That's what he does. And so I do have some concern about Hubbard. I think he can probably meet expectation, but I have a hard time seeing him as another league winner at this new cost. Right. And so as a result of that, I drafted a lot of Rico Dowdle, but I probably should be splitting that more with Etienne, especially given what you just talked about and that people aren't drafting him. So you get even more of an edge, whenever you're taking him in the final round.
Yeah, a little bit unique in these drafts. You've also thrown some cold water on one of my favorite picks in these drafts, which is Jordan Mason. As I think we've talked about it a little bit. I've at least commented on your streams about Jordan Mason.
It's tough, man.
Yeah,
I know. Jordan Mason is a tough eval for me. Really, really tough eval because the situation is clearly there where you have an aged running back ahead of him. Jordan Mason was a top 5 running back by almost every efficiency metric on the ground last year. But again, I just gravitate towards pass catchers, and he has not been a pass catcher in the NFL, and he wasn't a pass catcher in college either. Now, you could say, you could explain some of this away for sure. There's a lot of weapons in San Francisco, so why would they be giving the ball to Jordan Mason? Now, we've seen when Christian McCaffrey, an elite running back pass catcher, comes in, they do target him at a really high rate. So there's a little bit of that. But regardless, in college, he played with Jahmyr Gibbs. So I think we can excuse at least some of the poor reception and receiving numbers from Mason in college. I just don't know if he's going to be that dude. I think in best ball, though, a little bit different, right? Where I'm always coming at it from a season-long perspective because that's my bread and butter, where, the receiving aspect gives these running backs a little bit more predictability because we know going into a given week that they're going to be used and we don't have to worry about game script. We don't have to worry about all these different circumstances and things going down. Whereas in best ball, if Jordan Mason has, a 60-yard touchdown, because he's probably going to see half the backfield carries out, from a projection standpoint. And so if that happens, then we don't have to guess when that's going to happen. If he is the goal line back, we don't have to guess when those situations and those 2 touchdown games are going to go down. So I'm actually at 7-ish% Jordan Mason right now on DK, which I think is fair given the fact that it's full PPR. His ADP is rising, his cost is rising, but there's still some drafts out there where he falls because, like I said, people aren't as attached to ADP on DraftKings. So you're going to get random values here and there with these people. And so if you're doing a ton of drafts, it's a lot easier to get exposure to a lot of these guys just because there's going to be some draft here and there where some of these guys fall.
I was glad to hear that. You said that on your show that you had 6 or 7% Jordan Mason. So I was like, okay, I'm glad to hear that you're not completely out. So I can't be, because, I've been drafting a ton of them, love drafting Jordan Mason. So yeah, good to hear that you are not completely out. By the way, we are in the 10 hole here, so we'll have to make a pick soon. But the other player that I did want to ask you about before we started, because you picked him in your draft, but you were like, I just want to be clear that this is an exposure thing. I don't like this pick. I'm not happy about it. But he's a guy that I've been going after in Dylan Sampson because of the Quinshon Judkins situation. I'm like, well, Dylan Sampson could be a top 100 pick if things go a certain way here. I mean, it's pretty unlikely, but could be moving up quite a bit. So I've been going on a way to get him. And you're like, I guess I'll take him at 172. I don't like it though.
Yeah, so I mean, now I'm going to take him, right? Because of the Judkins stuff. Before, though, I think there was a lot of assumptions being made that Dylan Sampson, because I know that, there's been some coach speak around Sampson being a pass catcher for them and stuff like that. And I don't want to dismiss any of that. But to me, Sampson wasn't like an elite pass catcher as a prospect. He was actually way better than I think people give him credit for between the tackles, and he was a good short yardage back despite being really small. I'm down with Puka here if you want to go Puka.
Yeah, I'm very happy with Puka here.
Okay. But yeah, so like Sampson is actually like pretty good on the ground despite being a smaller back, but I do worry about like what that true ceiling is for him. Now, I had some concerns about Bucky Irving last year, and he obviously came through and was really strong. And I have an easier time betting on those players in a season long, a best ball environment than I do in like Dynasty or something like that, because the investment's a lot different. So it's fine if you want to go after Sampson. I just think like I've just gravitated because of cost to Jerome Ford more out of that backfield,
right?
Because I think Cleveland's going to be bad, and if there's negative game scripts, they'll likely go with the veteran a little bit more, and a veteran who's been a pass catcher who can play that role. We've already seen him in that role, and that's just kind of the default for me and the direction I've gone. But now with the Judkins news, now I wasn't drafting any Judkins really either, or Sampson, and so but with this news, if Sampson's ADP is not going to fall that much, and I'm definitely going to just get Sampson. Where he's going.
Do we like the game stack with Rick London? Do you like Brock Bowers, Derrick Henry falling?
London's good with me. Yeah, I'd go London for the game stack.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah, I remember. I couldn't remember if you and I had this conversation. I don't think we've done a best ball stream. Maybe we talked about this actually on your show on becoming a best ball bro, because you kind of got me onto drafting some Jerome Ford because I was sort of intrigued by Dylan Sampson all along, and then you brought up Jerome Ford, and I was like, yeah, why am I not drafting this veteran who's like probably still going to have a role? And that was even before the Judkins stuff.
Yeah, right. It's just it's not a sexy pick, and it's not like I don't think Ford necessarily has crazy upside, but we've seen him break big plays in the NFL already. Like we already know that I always try to think of like percentile outcomes, right? And to me, the 50th percentile outcome for Jerome Ford is definitely better than the 50th percentile outcome for Dylan Sampson. Maybe the higher end outcome for Sampson is better than Ford, but I still don't know if it's like that dramatically different. With the Judkins stuff, I think it is different because Sampson, to me, as a prospect, again, it's counterintuitive because he's not the big. He looks like more of a scat back. He's a bursty player. He's smaller in size. One of his comps for me was Ronnie Hillman. Rest in peace, Ronnie Hillman. And one of them was also like Blake Corum and Devontae Freeman. So like smaller built guys who had some like one-off time. Devontae Freeman obviously had his time a couple of years in the league as like a sincere fantasy stud, but I don't know how sustainable that kind of player is to be a true elite fantasy stud. And so like the weird thing about Sampson is that like, I'd almost rather Sampson be in a really good offense where he would be rotating drives, maybe get one drive for every 3 drives or something with some, bell cow, that would be Judkins in this case, because they would be in more positive game scripts. And I would feel better about him being on the field more. Right. Whereas I think given this Cleveland Browns environment, not only are they probably going to suck offensively, so I don't want to be too exposed to the offense, but I also think that there's a chance that negative game scripts could bury Dylan Sampson. But with Quinshon Judkins now sidelined, hypothetically, if he were to be sidelined, then that's where Sampson would rise and would get more of a bump than Jerome Ford, I think.
Yeah, no, that's a good call. And I mean, we can get Jerome Ford pretty cheaply still. Honestly, like you just got Sampson at pick 172. Where are you targeting Sampson? Is it kind of like depends on your team needs at this point? Are you, because like you said, we don't really know what's going to happen with Judkins. I've read somewhere that it's like maybe 6 games is like the high end outcome. 6-game suspension to start the year could be in the cards, but also could be 0. Like there's kind of a wide range of outcomes for what could happen for Judkins. Where are you targeting him now, and where would you target him if we get news that Judkins is going to be suspended for 6 games?
Yeah, it's tough. I think that if Judkins is suspended, we would probably push him up into that like maybe the Tootin range ish. Does that sound about right? Yeah. And then I think that where we're at now, where I'm drafting, it is based on need probably a little bit more. If I'm like, oh, I need to get a running back here, and he's available, then I'll go after it and do it. I think like probably after like in round 14 range, where opportunity cost just isn't as significant, especially if I'm not needing that third quarterback at that time. Like that draft today where I got Bo Nix and Kyler Murray, so I was feeling good. So I just threw the Jackson dart at the end of the draft. Yeah. So I think that probably is about the area where he would hypothetically land. the thing that's really weird about the Judkins stuff is that he doesn't even have a contract right now. Like he like that's where, and I'm not saying that this is likely, but like, what if they just don't want to deal with him, right? Like if they're just like, no, this is too bad. Not to say that that will happen. And I know people are going to take, this is not I'm not thinking about this in a binary way. I'm just saying like, still part of the range of outcomes here. So I think there's just a really, really wide range of things that could go down.
Sure. All right. We are almost on the clock again. I guess we can hold off our thoughts until after we are on the clock. But we're off to a nice start with Puka and Drake London. Nice little game stack going on already, coming up on our 3rd round pick. I know one player that you like here, and he just went one pick before us, but Josh Jacobs at 34. How do you feel about that? Or
yeah, do you like that's a falling value. You got to get Jacobs. Yeah.
I was thinking George Kittle was a player that maybe we would target at pick 39 if he came back there, but he goes at 33 here.
I've had a harder time getting Kittle because like at the start of the summer and on DK, you know, he was like an early 5th into the 4th round. Like he's gone up a full round in ADP. And I honestly haven't gotten him nearly as much as I did before because there's still some decent wide receivers in the running backs here. I like a Breece Hall or, you know, like, I mean, Kyron is still on the board, knock on wood. If Kyron fell to round 4, he would be an ideal candidate for this build. Right.
Yeah. Right. With that team, with that game stack. Yeah.
Right. And so like, there's still good players in this area. It's really, I think he's like Kittle to me, like I'll still draft him at times, but to me, he would be much easier if it was like a 4-5, 4-6 pick, where there is that like drop off in projected output.
Oh, look at this. The guy goes Jalen Hurts and then Terry McLaurin before the Jaden Daniels. This is interesting the way things are going here.
In a nutshell, baby.
Yeah, this is DK in a nutshell.
It's awesome.
That's fun. Yeah.
It's the best.
Poor guy that goes Jaden Daniels. I think you got to go. No, I mean, maybe you just prefer.
Oh, then he gets Kyron.
All right. Breece Hall is still there.
Yeah.
Omarion Hampton there.
I'm down with Breece, and I know it feels counterintuitive to like get running backs and stuff, but like you're gonna feel so much better in this environment, like the way people draft them on here, and you'll feel good. There's gonna be some decent enough wide receiver values late too, where we can pound the position. I like the start. I think it's a solid start. I'm
really liking the start too. I see Tyler in here. Tyler was just on Pete Overzet's randomizer, the first head-to-head randomizer stream. Yeah, I know he was also on your becoming. He was bragging to me that his episode of Becoming a Best Ball Bro outshone mine, got more views and comments than mine did. So screw you, Tyler. But also, how did that go for you, Tyler? How did things end up going in your randomizer?
Yeah, that'd be great. I definitely want to check it out. It's him versus Daigle, right?
Yeah, him versus Daigle, who was on the stream yesterday on this channel. Yeah.
Nice.
Should be a fun one. I watched part of it, and they did intros. They did like WrestleMania style intros for Emo and Daigle. So that was fun way to start the stream.
Nice.
All right. It says ton of fun, no spoilers. All right, we'll have to watch that one later. I forget. So we had the conversation about elite tight ends, and I forget exactly where you landed. I know that you were often passing on Bowers and McBride because you could get Kittle later. Have you changed your thought process on on Bowers and McBride because Kittle is now rising up closer to them?
My highest roster tight end right now it's frightening, but maybe second or third is Trey McBride. Just given where he falls in these drafts. I think I got him on the stream earlier today too. I have a ton of McBride. Bowers to me is more difficult of a click because of the opportunity cost. Like you're taking him amongst such good wide receivers that it's just hard to click his name as frequently as McBride. Whereas McBride, it's usually like a Garrett Wilson decision, and that's not as difficult for me. So McBride, I'm getting the most of the three at this point with Kittle rising. But at the beginning of the offseason, like I'll tell you what, like in May and into mid-June, I was at like 25% Kittle. And it's just changed since then because his price has risen.
Yeah, harder to get him now. You got on Debro's good side talking positively about McBride, and then you went and said, but then you like him because he's in the Garrett Wilson range, who Debro absolutely loves. So you're not as high on Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like low on him, but I think that, I think I have him at like wide receiver 16 or something like that. So it's enough of a difference. I think I'm probably okay or like around market with him on DK, but like in a season long format, I'm probably not gonna be as high. I'm worried for obvious reasons. I'm worried about the volume. He's going to need that like 30% target share, and he might get it because he's really good, but he's going to really need that to thrive, with Justin Fields. but I'm drafting a lot of Justin Fields.
All right, we're back on the clock. Zay Flowers is here, Jalen Waddle. We can have the Travis Hunter conversation. Who do you like around here?
I like Waddle over Flowers with the no Jonnu situation. Yeah, I mean, I'm just getting more Waddle than Flowers based on the potential.
I'm happy with that. Where are you at on Travis Hunter? It's a hot topic right now on Twitter. Where do you land on, like, where do you rank Travis Hunter? What are you expecting from him?
Yeah, I'm in on him in general, because again, like, I think people overstate the opportunity cost in round 5 and round 6 of leagues and in drafts, especially like season long, definitely season long, but even best ball. Like, I don't think that Travis Hunter is like a 0 if he plays defense, you know? So like, you're taking him amongst other players who have question. Rome Odunze has plenty of question marks. Deebo Samuel has plenty of question marks. And so to me, I feel like leaning into a guy who could really be an elite talent makes a lot of sense. You know, and again, I feel like when we think range of outcomes for Travis Hunter, we're only thinking pessimistically. We're only thinking like, oh, well, he's going to only play 50% of the snaps because he's going to be playing defense. And there he goes. And when it's, I mean, what if he just does play both ways, you know?
Right. So who do you like here? Do you want Travion Henderson, Joe Mixon, Juwan Jennings is here, Chris Godwin?
I usually like? I mean, we could go with another running back and go Travion.
Or cool with that.
Yeah, let's go Travion.
There are like surprisingly a lot of wide receivers that I feel pretty good about in like after round 14, like after the wide receiver or the quarterbacks that we like to take. There's actually a surprising number of wide receivers that I've grown to love there. Do you feel the same way? Like, do you have some late wide receiver targets?
Yeah, and I think there's some really easy, like, projectable volume in the later rounds, which I don't think they're going to be league winning players, but in builds like this where you do have, you know, 2 studs, Jalen Waddle has upside, and then if you get wide receiver in the next couple of rounds too, you know, it's fine to get like the Romeo Dobbs and the Michael Wilsons of the world, in my opinion. Like, still drafting them, and you know, they're easy stacks if you get Kyler or Jordan Love's a late enough quarterback. That's easy to stack too. But like, we're in a position too where like we could realistically build a Green Bay stack. We already have Jacobs. This is a range where Jaden Reed and in the 7th and 8th, where Jaden Reed and Matthew Golden will be like this portion of the draft, this side of the draft is where we'll see Golden and Reed. And so like that's and then Dobbs later. Like, there's just a lot of outs, I feel like, with wide outs.
Yeah, I feel that way. Early on, I didn't. I was like, I want to get my wide receivers early because I don't feel great about any of them later. But then the more I've like talked with people about them and thought about some of the later wide receivers, I'm suddenly like, yeah, there's actually a lot of pretty good late wide receivers available late. By the way, if you like JJ's player thoughts, JJ put out his draft guide just like a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, right? Early July, put out his draft guide, and it's not expensive. It's like what, $30, something like that.
$30 for a lot of nerdy stuff. Yeah.
Is it just lateround.com?
Yeah, lateround.com.
Yeah, go check that out at lateround.com if you haven't already. While I'm asking you to do stuff, please do like this video, subscribe to this channel, The Flannelverse, if you have not already done so. That is very helpful for me. If you want to get notifications when I go live, which is going to be frequently this week, you can hit that little notification bell to get alerts. And if you could comment under the streams. Other people, I always ask people to comment under the streams. What do you think of Travis Hunter? Where are you drafting Travis Hunter this year? Always very helpful to get those comments, help the algorithm as well. Our next pick is at 82. I don't think we have to worry. Yeah, we don't have any like quarterbacks to worry about yet that we're stacked up, which is kind of nice. So we have 3 wide receivers with later quarterbacks, Stafford, Penix, and Tua, all pretty late. If we want to, we can afford to wait a little bit on some of those quarterbacks. This is kind of a gross range with our next pick. I have some players that I like more than others, but there's nobody that I feel really awesome about. Is there anybody that you feel really awesome about around where we're drafted now?
Not necessarily. Like I said, like you're going to probably feel like you're reaching a little bit on wide out. You know, this is an area where maybe you're reaching for one of the Packers guys, or if there is a falling value, like Debo's still on the board right now, but if there's a falling value, I'll just get that guy. I don't feel good about any position in this range, in this area of the draft. So like, it's not as bad that we don't feel good, or if we do feel like we have to reach. Like, I think Golden is, or Mooney, obviously, to get the Atlanta stuff going.
We could probably wait on Mooney.
Shakir's also not a bad look if we want sort of like just a floor option. He's the value play, but I'm down for any of the three, whatever you feel most comfortable with.
Let's go Golden. Give us another quarterback out.
Yep.
I think I'm biased against Shakir because I never have Josh Allen. Like, unless I have Josh Allen, then he's like an auto click when he's there. When I don't have Josh Allen, I'm like, let's just give myself, which is probably not ideal to do that all the time. You probably want to be mixing in some Shakir just because he's a good pick. Yeah, but that's often my thought process there. Mooney's still available.
Mooney would be great. Yeah.
Ngbuka. Yeah. Go Hawkinson to add another quarterback out. But yeah, we can. Happy to get Mooney here.
Yeah, let's do Mooney. I'm actually pretty high on Mooney.
Are you high on Penix then? If you're high on Drake London, you're high on Darnell Mooney. What about Penix?
Not necessarily. Just because. So like the research that I've done on that, because I've seen a lot of people tweet about this before, where it's like, Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams are both top 3 round picks, but Matthew Stafford's the QB 21. Like, what's going on here? And I get it. I get the logic behind it. But at the end of the day, from a projection standpoint, you got to remember that we're worried about target share. And if there's just an offense that looks at target share in that way, where they're just giving 50% plus of the team's targets to 2 players, then yeah, those 2 players are going to be drafted high. Similarly to Miami, right? You get Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. They both project to see really high target shares, and Tua is not being drafted high because there's a rushing component to quarterback play, right? So we care about the rushing component. And I kind of feel similarly about Atlanta, where I'm not really a fan of Kyle Pitts at this point. It's kind of hard to be a fan of Kyle Pitts at this point. And so, I'll draft him here and there, but to me, there's not that much going on. You have obviously Bijan is going to steal 15, 16% of the team's targets, but Darnell Mooney had good peripherals last year. One of the things to look for in these like mid to late round wide receivers is previous season, like big play rates. And Darnell Mooney had that last year. There's just a lot going in his favor. And he's going to be the clear wide receiver 2 on that squad. So like Penix is fine, but I don't feel like you need to force it with him because he's just another pocket passer where the variance is going to take over with passing numbers. Like, one of the key insights that I put in the draft guide every year, and then I talk to people about every year, is when you look at points scored at quarterback via rushing and then points scored via passing, and you look at the R squared of players who played year over year, so guys who played 1 year and played the next at quarterback, the correlation of points per game via the pass among those quarterbacks. Well, actually, I'll go with the points per game via the rush because it's a better, more dramatic way of approaching this. The correlation of points per game via the rush is 0.68, 68% R squared is the correlation of a quarterback's rushing points per game 1 year versus rushing points per game the next year. So it's pretty strong for fantasy purposes, right? Yeah. The correlation for passing points per game is 0.03. There's basically no correlation with how well a player performed 1 year via the pass versus the next, because passing fluctuates so much. You could have an 80-yard play that doesn't result in a touchdown, and the quarterback who throws the ball from the 1 yard line for a touchdown scores more fantasy points. That's just the way that fantasy is played and scored, which is why typically, historically, quarterbacks who had lower touchdown rates the previous season outperform expectation at a higher rate the following season than quarterbacks who had high touchdown rates. So guys like Baker and Jared Goff are worse picks this year because we're inflating their costs a little bit based on their touchdown rates.
Well, look at the top of ADP.
Look at the top of the board.
Look at that. I mean, hard to pass on that, but I'll allow you to if you prefer somebody else.
No, I don't care. That's fine if you want to go that direction. This is kind of a weird.
It is kind of a weird range. There's no. All right, love it. All right, we got that was my goal, was to get Jordan Mason in a draft with JJ. Pretty happy with that. On that note, I mean, would Matthew Stafford also fall under that category of like quarterback who the receivers are going to score a lot of points, but he historically doesn't have as many like big spike weeks?
Yeah,
last year, he sort of broke it last year, right? He sort of broke that for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, like they can have spiked weeks and they're fine in best ball and all that. And Stafford's actually a guy who had a low touchdown rate last year who's being pushed down because of that low touchdown rate. Like that's the thing. Like when these pocket passers, just jumble them up, and there's so many of them, Jordan Love and Justin Herbert and and so on and so forth, who don't necessarily have the rushing upside, or at least don't show it off in their offense. The players who had previous season high touchdown rates are the players you generally want to avoid at cost, right? If they fall past cost, it's different. But at cost, like Jared Goff, of course, quarterbacks in best ball, you're just basically drafting them based on your pass catchers. So it's a little bit different in best ball. But like in a season-long environment, there's just not much of a point to get a guy like Jared Goff. There's just not.
Do you have a feeling about anybody here? Do you like Drake May?
Yeah. So this is a spot where on DK, I'm going to force it a little bit and just get a quarterback so I don't feel like I'm behind. And I would probably go May as the.
Yeah.
And you have the bring back with Breece
Hall. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's easy to backstack May.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And we don't have tight end yet, so we can get Hunter Henry or something like that. And
yeah,
because you're like, we're going to see, it sucks that they got Jordan Love too. I didn't even see that at the turn.
Oh, I didn't see that either. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is DK again. Like we talked about this on the show when you came on Becoming a Best Ball Bro, where you look at the board after the fact. I ranted about this actually on today's episode too, but you look at the board after the fact and you're like, man, we just took Drake, or Drake May is probably different because I actually am pretty high on him, but like CJ Stroud goes 10-01, right? That's only a little over a round after where Bo Nix and almost Justin Fields went in this draft.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, Bo Nix and Justin Fields are by far the better values here than a guy who scored 13 points per game last year. It's wild. So you have to play that game. And that was part of the reason why on today's stream that I did in the draft that I did, I got Bo Nix and Kyler. I stacked them because I had drafted Sutton and McBride. But like you get better values when you're getting that like top end of this range of this grouping of quarterbacks. Then, if some of them fall, then that's where you can get some values out of them. And, you'll still get like the 14th round Geno Smith and stuff like that, who I think is a pretty good value just based on how the quarterback market is operating on DraftKings. But you got to force it. You got to force it on this platform, man, or else you can get really screwed.
You really do. Who was I going to ask you? Oh, Jared Goff. So you wrote up Jared Goff as a pick that you think goes too high, but I think you were talking about season long. I feel like I talked about it on a stream, and then I like went back and read it. I was like, I kind of misinterpreted that because you were talking about like being able to stream quarterbacks, and it might be a little bit different in best ball. Yeah. Where do you rank Jared Goff in best ball? Like, did you like him a little bit better in best ball than season long, or is he kind of the same?
If I'm being honest, the way I approach quarterback in best ball is I'm playing the ADP game versus what is on my roster. Right. So too. Like, I don't have a really strong opinion about Goff or Jordan Love, or it's just that like Jordan Love falls a lot, or, like CJ Stroud, I might get Jaden Higgins and create a stack at one of the turns or something like that. Right. So I don't have many like strong leans. That's why I'm flat at quarterback seemingly. Like last year I was really flat at quarterback, and this year relatively flat at quarterback. Like there's some guys that I definitely like because I think that the balance of where their pass catchers go allows me for a lot of flexibility. Like Justin Fields is one. If you don't get Garrett Wilson, you're not totally screwed. Bo Nix is a really easy one for me where if you don't get Cortland Sutton, you can even get Evan Ingram if you want, but there are a lot of Broncos pass catchers who are viable later in drafts, and even J.K. Dobbins as a Denver player, a round or two after you would get Nix. So like a lot of it just depends on that. And that's why like, I have gotten, or I am more overweight on a guy like Bo Nix than some of the other guys, just because it's which quarterbacks don't have the obvious pass catchers that you need to stack with. Like Dak is harder because you need CD Lamb or George Pickens basically to get Dak. Or like what's the point? Otherwise?
Unless Jake Ferguson you could get Jake Ferguson later, but that's just like one option.
Right. But it's still, you don't feel great about that. It's
pretty tough. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And if you don't get them, then you're really screwed. I just want as many outs as possible. Like I still am okay with Trevor Lawrence not getting, Travis Hunter or Brian Thomas, because I think De'Ami Brown and Brenton Strange are viable this season. So like, it just depends on that more than the actual quarterback himself. Yeah.
One player that I really want to ask you. So first of all, Marvin Mims, we were talking about Denver pass catchers. He's not the one I want to talk about. I noted that you brought him up on the players that stats really like episode that you did with Kitchen. That was fun. Not somebody I've drafted a lot, so maybe I'll pick your brain on him in a second. But Debro brought up a player that I want to get your thoughts on, because I feel like I heard you say, or maybe I saw it in your guide. Actually, let's make our pick first. Do we just go Penix or Stafford here?
Yeah, we probably have to force it. I mean, we could, yeah.
Unless you want to go like Loveland or Kraft.
We can go Penix and then just see what's there after.
All right. A player that I think Debro might be on an island, but he brought him up. Want to hear your thoughts on Mayson Taylor? So Mayson Taylor, a player that you can get fairly late in these drafts on DraftKings. I was actually surprised that he has been 100% drafted. I thought he was going to be one that was going to be on the list of not 100% drafted. Where are you at on Mayson Taylor?
I wasn't as high on him as a prospect. Like my numbers and my model like Terrence Ferguson more than Mayson Taylor by quite a bit. Taylor didn't have the best, and yards per out run is one of the main production inputs in there, and his career yards per out run was not very strong. And there is some correlation to that. You can look historically at guys who had as low yards per out run as him, and the guys who have emerged. And Trevor Lawrence could have worked also for this build, just to get like another guy. But we gotta probably reach for. We probably need we probably need another quarterback here.
You want to go Stafford or Tua?
I guess we could go Tua.
I'm open to either.
Whatever you feel best about. I mean, I don't know how you feel about two quarterbacks in the same week 17 matchup.
Yeah, I generally like it's a tiebreaker for me in favor of Tua.
That's how I think so. Yeah, let's just go Tua.
Okay.
This is the weird thing about like you feel like you gotta force it, and it's like yeah. I mean, it's fine though because we do have the stack with Waddle.
Yeah, I mean, I feel good about where we're at now. I guess we don't have Drake May stacked up yet. Other than we do have Travion Henderson, so we do have at least the running back there.
That's true. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure that out. But yeah, Mayson Taylor was kind of just fine for me. And I don't really love the situation. I don't hate the situation because he has a chance to be the number 2 target getter in his offense, but I don't think the offense is going to have that much volume. I've drafted him. I'm not overweight on him. Just kind of there for me.
Okay. Yep. That's generally been where I've been about, but like, I think Debro actually said that he wasn't high on him as a prospect either. If I remember right, it was just a matter of like, the situation is he might be the second target there, could get 80 targets this year, which would be pretty awesome. Let's talk about Marvin Mims. So are you like, is Marvin Mims somebody that you draft a lot on DraftKings, or was that just because Kitchen I think he went out of his way to say, these aren't necessarily players that we like. These are the players that the stats like. Is he somebody that you like? Are you drafting a lot of Marvin Mims?
I like Mims. I do. Mostly because when a player does what he did during the second half of last year, and now look, there's this is honestly embarrassing, but one of my highest rostered wide receivers in basketball right now is Devon Vele. And so I have to at least throw that caveat out there. Part of that is I'm drafting a decent amount of Bo Nix, and so he's an easy target late, but there's been some hype about Vele out of Denver, and I think he could play the slot role there. And, he's fine. I don't think he's going to like break fantasy football, but I think he can give you some usable weeks for a 20th round pick. But regardless, Marvin Mims last year, final 7 games of the season, averaged 15.5 PPR points per game on like a 38% route participation. Like it was wild, right? Totally unsustainable, but wild. And he had a 2.57 yards per route run rate. And usually in the late rounds, because the market is telling you if a guy is good or not, right? And usually in the late rounds, when a guy has a previous season yards per route run rate that's really good, it actually is not super, super predictive. Like Dontavian Wicks last year, I wish I would have just gone with my own research more and just said, the market is telling us that Dontavian Wicks isn't that special of a player despite his per route run numbers last season. And I still drafted Dontavian Wicks, even though that
was part of becoming a best ball bro.
Yeah, right. Even though my historical research said, hey, high yards per route run rates is not that big of a deal for late round picks because the market is telling you they're late round picks for a reason, right? But with Marvin Mims, I do think it's a little bit different because if you look at the threshold, like how high he got, 2.57 was very, very high. The players who have gotten there have actually been pretty good hits versus ADP. So you combine that, the lack of competition for the most part there, the good offense, strong offensive line. I'm actually more in than out on Marvin Mims this year. Am I confidently taking him? Like I think he went around where he probably should go, like in this draft.
123.
Right yeah.
That's right around ADP, I think.
Yeah.
He's a player that honestly I have not drafted like at all because I think I'm concerned about the number of the lack of routes there. But let's Hunter Henry is available here still. If we want to complete that stack, he would be our first tight end.
It's up to you.
Unless you like somebody else better.
No, we're solid at
we're at 3-4-5-0.
Yeah, we're solid at running back.
Kyle Williams also there if you prefer him.
We might be able to push Williams. Just the negative, and plus we have a higher need at tight end.
True.
So we'll reach a little bit with him.
Yep. a player that I drafted in my unlimited keeper league recently, who I made the mistake, JJ, of I did my draft, and then afterwards I was like, oh, I should have checked JJ's guide, your rookie guide, for your dynasty. You were not as high on RJ Harvey as I thought you were. Like in my memory, I was like, I thought JJ was pretty high on RJ Harvey. Not quite as high. Is that just be like from a talent eval perspective? It sounds like you must not have been very high on him, but obviously the landing spot pretty good for RJ Harvey.
Yeah,
where do you land him now?
I wasn't not high on Harvey. I just thought that the class was really good. The running back class was really good, and I like some of the wide receivers too. So he just got bumped down in the rookie rankings a little bit. I think I was around market in dynasty rookie rankings and stuff with Harvey. And then I've actually liked him, and like I'm probably gonna be aggressive with him in like season long this year. Like I'll probably get a lot of RJ Harvey, especially with more and more, reporting of like J.K. Dobbins, like both J.K. Dobbins and RJ Harvey are targets in my draft guide right now for this season, because I think that it's just a really attractive, situation to go after.
So Kyle Williams is still here, makes it back to us. Is that the pick? Do you like anybody else better?
I think Kyle Williams is fine there. Yeah,
seems like a good pick.
Yeah,
but so this is from it's an unlimited keeper league. I like Travion Henderson went like the pick before him, and I was happy. I was like excited to get RJ Harvey because I was thinking I liked him better than Travion Henderson. I do think that you have him ranked below Travion Henderson. So is it like you like him for this year? So this season, it's a great spot for RJ Harvey, but maybe not quite as confident in the long term.
Yeah, my worry with Harvey, and it's not even necessarily like an age thing because he is an older prospect. But my worry with Harvey is that like when you look at what they have this year, I do feel pretty good about Harvey carving out a decent role like as a receiver and playing in the offense and having a good workload. Whereas year to year things can change pretty quickly, and they can add bodies and they can change things up. And right now his biggest competition is J.K. Dobbins, who has been able to stay healthy and has question marks himself. So it's a lot easier to click, RJ Harvey's name. Maybe not in best ball as much, especially because I want to see where his ADP just kind of settles, and his ADP has been falling. So I'm not trying to like be aggressive in getting Harvey. But in season long, I see scenarios in like home leagues and stuff where Harvey is just not like, people hate drafting uncertainty and ambiguity. And usually that's where the biggest value comes in fantasy football. So I'm just kind of trying to project a little bit where the market's going with him and saying that like, hey, when you're drafting in August, more than likely RJ Harvey is going to be someone that you should be targeting.
Yep. So I'm part of my RJ Harvey love would be J.K. Dobbins. Like I look at his stats from last year, and I'm curious to hear your take on this. It was like through the first 2 weeks of the season, which was against Carolina and Las Vegas, he was amazing. Like his explosive run rate, his missed tackles force were both like top 2 or 3 in the NFL. And then the rest of the season, it was like he was 48, like somewhere in that range. Among, I can't remember exactly where I set the threshold, but like it was a lot of receivers, obviously, and he was pretty low in those rankings. Do you have any concern there? Do you think that was just like he was an injury thing? What do you make of that? Does it not matter if he's just in a situation where the coach likes him? It sounds like you said J.K. Dobbins a target for you. You're not concerned about the late season kind of regression there?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's all based on cost, and I'm not going to be worried about a double-digit round pick busting at the end of the day. And so, like, what if he is the guy that they want to use? And especially if you're going 0 RB in a season-long format and you want to get some production early on, he's the kind of guy that you could potentially rely on. But I remember last year very vividly because in my 15 transactions column, I called J.K. Dobbins a sell after week 2, and people yelled at me because anytime you say something negative about a player, people yell at you.
When they're doing well, especially.
Yeah, right. When they're doing really well. And so what he was doing wasn't sustainable. But I do think that, right now where he goes, I've been drafting on best ball a decent bit. I just think he's a pretty easy go-to. Okay. We're on the clock.
Yeah. Do you like Pop Douglas here at pick 178? It'd be a triple stack now.
I'm cool with that. Or if we want to, that's fine.
Both of the Browns running backs did go. If you like anybody else better, we could do it, but I don't see anybody else that I have a need for.
It's fine by me.
Okay. We're doing the triple stack. And then we can think about, do we want, maybe we want a second tight end at this point. There are a lot of later tight ends that I do like, but we're at a 3-4-7-1 build right now. Drake May, Josh Jacobs, Breece Hall, Puka Nacua, Drake London, Jalen Waddle, Hunter Henry, Travion Henderson, Matthew Golden, Darnell Mooney, Jordan Mason, Michael Penix, Tua Tagovailoa, Cal Williams, and Pop Douglas is the team so far. So even we only have 4 running backs, but like their top 2 are Jacobs and Breece Hall.
Right.
Feel pretty good about them in general.
Yeah, running backs are solid.
Where are you at on Pat Bryant? We've talked about every other player.
I'm drafting him too.
Do you like him here? Or do you like somebody else in this range?
I'd go him, or or we could go. Yeah, I can't remember the build off the top of my head, but if it makes sense from a.
I think it does. I mean, I know it does because the sidekick thinks it does. So
yeah,
I'd be happy to
go
Pat Bryant. Okay, sure.
I know people might say Mayson Taylor, but we just talked about Mayson Taylor and being whatever. Maybe if he makes it back in the next round.
Yeah.
Pat Bryant, I think the funny thing about him is when I did his profile pre-draft, he was projected to go pretty late in the draft. And so I was like, yeah, he actually has some interesting numbers. Same thing with Kyle Williams. It was both of them. It was like, yeah, they have like pretty interesting numbers, but we don't have to really worry about them that much because they're going to be day 3 picks. Like at the time when I was writing it all, and then they weren't. And Kyle Williams was rising quite a bit, so I knew that was going to happen. But then with Pat Bryant was kind of a surprise with him going as high as he did. He didn't have that bad of a profile though. And I do think that like I've been drafting him also. I'm just getting all of these Broncos wide receivers. Like it's an offense that I feel confident will be pretty competent. Very rarely do you get a quarterback like Bo Nix who has the numbers that he did from an efficiency perspective and a fantasy perspective and watch them just fall off the face of the earth. Like it just doesn't happen very frequently. So I'm going to base it off that and Sean Payton and the good offensive line and just feel good about the offense. And you're getting very, very cheap wide receivers in that offense where the wide receiver 1 in Cortland Sutton has never really been an alpha, like a true alpha in the league. And so, and I like Evan Ingram too, even though I don't love like that range of tight end in general. Historically, they have terrible hit rates and stuff like that. Like I'm not trying to be super, super aggressive, but like I like Evan Ingram this year because I think he can play that Joker role in that offense and see a lot of work. Pat Bryant, I think could get off to a slower start. I would imagine their 11 personnel sets are going to be Sutton, Mims, and Vele to start the year with Vele in the slot. And I think Bryant is more of the Vele replacement as the season goes on if he shows something. So he would be the guy. Like that's why he should be going higher than some of those other guys, because later in the season, when things matter most for us from a best ball perspective and from a fantasy perspective, that's when I think Pat Bryant would be able to shine.
The one name that might surprise that you did not bring up, who actually goes ahead of Devon Vele in drafts, is shower narrative Troy Franklin, who went to college with Bo Nix. So you're not high on Troy Franklin, just don't believe he has earned himself a role there.
I'm just not. I can't believe I'm saying it because Franklin was a better prospect, but like Vele showed us so much more last year than Troy Franklin did. And I don't want to just ignore what we saw year 1 because there's a lot of predictive value to that based on or versus how they were as prospects entering. And Franklin fell in the draft. Like when you get fallers in the NFL draft like that versus projected draft capital. So like Franklin was projected to go like round 2. And then he falls. He goes early day 3. And so I worry about that because historically those players have not panned out at a very good rate at all. Whenever they fall, the fallers like that, because all of these teams are telling you that they don't want them over and over and over and over again, round after round after round. Same thing happens with reaches too. To some degree, which Pat Bryant was. So we have to be cognizant of that. But I just worry a little bit about Franklin just not being that dude. He's big playability. So best ball, maybe he's fine. I've drafted a little bit of him, but I'd rather be going after Vele. I think there's more volume potential there on a full PPR platform like this.
So a lot of strong tight ends available. Pat Freiermuth comes back. Theo Johnson, Terrence Ferguson there, Tyler Higbee. Anybody you particularly like?
No. Whatever you feel good about.
Okay. All right. I feel good about Freiermuth here, I think.
Yeah. Let's do a good play a little ADP.
And then we probably want one more tight end on this team and at least one more running back. We're at 3, 4, 8, 2 now. So we have 3 more picks. At least one more running back. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'll tell you one tight end that I've drafted a ton of is Tyler Higbee.
That was going to be my other thought there.
He fits this build well with Puka and Drake London and Mooney and Penix. Yeah. I
was going to suggest Tyler Higbee for the next one.
Yeah,
he's one that people aren't excited about it because of the Terrence Ferguson draft pick, but on a Stafford team makes a lot of sense here.
Yeah, agreed.
No, this is a Penix team, but whatever.
It's that Week 17 game. Yeah. Yeah, and I love Ferguson. I just think that there's a chance that Ferguson's a 2026 guy more than the 2025 guy. And Higbee has not been. I mean, he's shown a ceiling in his career. Like he's seen decent work in that offense. So I don't mind throwing that dart.
And it sounds to me like you're sort of in the camp that Pat Bryant might be more of a 2026 guy too. That was something that Rich Rebar said in passing on a Pete stream, and I kind of picked up on that. I was like, oh, because I've been drafting him pretty confidently, and then he said I think he's more of a 2026 pick. Is that kind of where you fall also? Like maybe you'll come on late in the year, but then maybe more of a sure thing for next year.
Yeah, I mean, look, we didn't see much rookie love from the Broncos last year in their pass catchers. Marvin Mims wasn't used at all his rookie year, and he barely, he didn't get used that much last year either. I think that there's often, like my research suggests that you should be drafting rookies late, right? But there are a lot of rookies to choose from. That denominator is pretty large, and we have to be realistic about like what these outcomes are for these guys. And there are enough veteran pieces on that Broncos team where they don't need to rush it with Pat Bryant. So yeah, I mean, I think Pat Bryant is going to be more of like we don't need to target him in our redraft leagues or season long managed leagues because he's going to be someone that we add off the waiver wire, like in this environment, he's going to be someone that maybe wins us, week 15 or 16, as opposed to doing something for us early on.
Yeah. And that makes him a better best ball pick than it does a season-long pick for that reason. Cause that like, even if somebody is like hip, like woke to Pat Bryant, they're going to draft him. And then in week 3, they're going to need a running back or a wide receiver. And they're going to drop in for the newest flavor. Those are always things to look out for. All right. So what are we at now? 3, 4, 8, 3. So we definitely need at least one running back, possibly 2 running backs. Mm-hmm. I mean, we are like the running backs we have are pretty strong. Josh Jacobs, Breece Hall, Jordan Mason being our 4th running back feels pretty good along with Travion Henderson, but we still probably want at least one more. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I like throwing darts at some of the rookie running backs in this range. Some like the ETN who we talked about at the beginning of the stream, or I hated Kyle Monangai as a prospect. Like, did not like him at all. But the extra 2 rounds on DraftKings allows you to kind of throw those fun darts. And obviously the competition in Chicago is not that strong. And look, he was not a good prospect at all in my model, but day 3 running backs in particular, we see some wild things happen in like a 1-year window, like the Alfred Morrises of the world or whomever, right? Like these guys who you just who don't have incredible production profiles or receiving profiles or what have you. And then they just become something for a stretch of time where you need them to be something. And why not target a team that should see good improvement that doesn't have locked in running backs at all? Like I've drafted Roshan, don't get me wrong, but I'm still throwing a dart at Monangai because I'm definitely not confident that Roshan Johnson is the answer to their early down woes. He hasn't done anything the first couple of years of his career. Yeah.
What percent of Roshan do you have? Because he's someone that I had a ton of for a while, and recently I just have not taken him.
That's exactly where I'm at too. Yeah, it's so weird. I don't even know why. I haven't really paid attention
because the team hasn't mentioned him in the team mentioned the other 2 running backs, and they've not even brought up his name.
I'm probably at, and in the millie, I'm probably at like 11 or 12% Roshan.
Do you have a favorite? Trevor Etienne is available?
Etienne's up there. Monangai. I've also thrown in certain stacks. Krosky Merritt I've gone after.
I believe he went already.
Did he?
I think so.
Dang.
Preference between
Monangai, either one.
Let's go Monangai. Okay. Yeah. I think he went. Let me double check that. Yeah, he went at 224.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, he goes undrafted sometimes.
So we are now. I mean, we have 3 tight ends. We could take another one. We're at 3, 5, 8, 3. So I'd say probably either a running back or a tight end. ETN still available here. Theo Johnson.
You got to do it for the beginning of the show question.
Because we talked about him. We got to draft him. I think that's true. I think that's accurate. Yeah. All right. We're doing it. Trevor Etienne, come on down. By the way, I saw somebody immediately respond, ETN is washed. The Jacksonville offense, we were not talking about Travis Etienne. To be clear, we're talking about his younger brother, Trevor Etienne.
That's right.
Has gone undrafted in several drafts. All right, we've got the full team drafted now. I will read it off, and then I'll bring Adam in, and then we will say goodbye to JJ after we do our team review. So I'll read it off first. We've got Puka Nacua, Drake London, Josh Jacobs, Breece Hall, Jalen Waddle, Travion Henderson, Matthew Golden, Darnell Mooney, Jordan Mason, Drake May, Michael Penix, Tua Tagovailoa, Hunter Henry, Kyle Williams, Pop Douglas, Pat Bryant, Pat Freiermuth, Tyler Higbee, Kyle Monunga, and Trevor Etienne. So a little bit weak at tight end, but honestly, I don't feel that bad about this tight end room. What do you think of Hunter Henry, Freiermuth, and Higbee as a full tight end room?
Yeah, I think it's super, super unsexy, but I think it can work. Yeah.
Feel good about the quarterbacks. Overall, I feel good about the team. Like we went with some early running backs, and I think it turned out okay.
Yeah, I think it's a usable. I mean, look, if you can walk away from a draft and say it can be competitive, then you won, right? Then you're good. As long as it's not total trash, then you're good to go.
Yep. Gonna bring Adam in here. Adam, were you even listening to the team as I read it off?
Yeah, sort of. I thought for the most part it was similar to a lot of teams I draft. Like obviously tight end's kind of weak, but I've been taking Freiermuth a lot because it kind of seems like after the Jonnu trade, everybody just decided that like Freiermuth's the clear 2 and Jonnu's the clear 1, which who knows. So it was at least the early parts were pretty similar to me. I don't have like any Pat Bryant or Monunga, but like everything you guys said obviously makes sense. Like I'm just generally grabbing different random dart throws. So it was a pretty similar team to a lot that I've drafted, I think.
I want to point out, Adam, in the thumbnail, you're wearing DraftKings branded clothes. Currently, Adam, do you just only wear DraftKings branded clothes?
Half of pretty much like all of my just like sit around clothes are just like from DraftKings sending me clothes.
Nice. All right. Adam and I are going to continue drafting after this, but JJ, I know you've got a lot coming, but we don't know when you're going to be drafting on your channel. That was a conversation you had this morning is people are like, give us a schedule. And you're like, I can't do that because I don't know. But what do you have? Do you know anything else that you have coming up? Where can people find you?
No, I don't. I don't know anything. I don't know what's going to happen in the next hour of my life. No, so you can find everything on lateround.com. Got the draft guide for sale right now. The Late Round podcast just hit episode 1000 of that. So that's still going on strong. So check all that out. And yeah, I'll be streaming when I can, between DMV appointments and such, over on the YouTube channel.
JJ is so responsible that he actually schedules his DMV appointments so they go smoothly for him. Apparently,
it's kind of awesome. It's kind of a life hack. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I guess I'll try that sometime. Schedule it next time. Good idea.
Should. All right, man. Appreciate you,
JJ. All right, talk to you later.
Bye.
All right, and let me move this around. Wait. There we go. How you doing, Adam? We haven't talked since football season. Like we haven't done a show together, right?
Yeah, we haven't done a show together since I bailed on you halfway through the year.
Yeah, which I just canceled the show. I was like not upset that you canceled it because at that point I was it was like just getting those hours back. Like the show was doing so well, like growing the channel, like great in so many ways. But I was just like kind of nice to get those mornings back in a way too, because both Mondays and Thursdays were so chaotic. But yeah,
that was pretty much where I was at. It was just like, man, like I want the time. Like it's basketball season. Like
well, you were just done with NFL at that point, right? Like you had stopped doing basically any NFL content. But now you're back. You just posted some content behind the paywall at Endgame. We talk best ball pretty regularly again. After like 2 weeks ago, Adam posted like, I'm just bored with best ball. I don't know does everybody else feel the same way? I'm tired of best ball. And then you like immediately DraftKings releases the data and now you're obsessed with best ball again.
Yeah. And when I posted that, it was basically like, this is the time of year that normally I start with best ball and start getting into it. And I was basically just saying that like, I was less excited to get into it than I normally am. But then DraftKings releasing that data made it really interesting to me because it at least gave me something to think about and, sort of not that there's actually like a solution to anything, but, sort of at least problem solve, like other than, I'm just going to draft good teams because like generally in best ball, because there's so much volatility, I feel like the two options are either the one I usually take, which is just like I ignore everything and I just try and draft good teams and hope that things work out. Or you just like come up with a bunch of different theories that you have no idea if they're any good or not.
Yeah.
And neither of those are super fun to me. So actually having like at least a little bit of data to work with has made it a lot more interesting. Like I still haven't done an underdog draft yet because I'm just having more fun playing around with DraftKings stuff.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun looking at those combos. Even like I have not used the data proactively as much as you have. I've done some of the like looking at combos and stuff. Mostly I do it just for fun of like looking, all right, how rare was this combo on this team that I have, or like how low owned are these players? So really interesting from that perspective. So we get the 12 hole pick here, Adam. Do you have a favorite spot to draft?
So now lately it's kind of been either at the beginning or back of the first round because I've started doing some stuff that I think is kind of interesting. But on DraftKings, I kind of like middle of the first round just because rooms are generally soft enough that there's like somebody kind of free falling every round.
Yep.
And if you're picking in the middle of every round, you can get more of it than you can take advantage of it more than you can when you're at one of the ends. But I kind of think obviously there's like strengths and weaknesses to all of them. Picking at the beginning of the first round, you end up super overlapped with every other team that's being drafted at the beginning of the first round.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't really have, I guess, a favorite spot. I think there's kind of pros and cons to all of them.
I think that's kind of where I am now too. I think early on I was very in on this current spot at the 12 hole, the back end of drafts, just because I feel like the second round pick you get there is always so strong. But more and more, like you say, like I feel better and better about some of the picks that go in the second round, and then you often get fallers, and now I'm like kind of like the mid second round, like you said, is like has his benefits, and obviously beginning you can get your Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson. So yeah, it is. I kind of don't care that much about where I draft these days.
Yeah, I will say I have more fun now drafting at the beginning or the end because I think that's where you can do the most interesting stuff with the data they released. Because when you're drafting guys in the middle, unless you get somebody that falls to you, like I got Jamar Chase at 105 one time, which then you can make a lot of
fun.
Unique Jamar Chase pairings. But assuming that doesn't happen, like everybody that goes in picks like 4 through 8 is just paired with every other player like 8% of the time because the volatility in their ADP, they go anywhere from like 4 to 12. So it's a lot less interesting, but like it's fun because you get the fallers. But it's a lot less interesting. Like you're not going to find unique CD Lamb lineups really.
Right. Good to see some fellow streamers in chat. Good to see you all here. Josh says he likes the 4 spot. Yeah, I like the 4 spot if I can get Jefferson there too, which you can kind of regular. Like it's not unusual to get Jefferson in the 4 hole. So I agree with that. It does kind of depend like who you can get where. But yeah, it's usually like 4, 5, 6 is, I feel like it's like 75% of drafts. If you're in the 4, 5, or 6, it's going to be Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, or CD Lamb. So it's, not that interesting who comes back to you. 12 hole, you can sometimes get a surprise faller to the 12 hole. You can occasionally get I don't even know who would be Malik Neighbors, is even that rare at the 12 hole. So sometimes you get something a little bit more unique. Yeah, he's at the 10 spot. Do you what are you doing with Christian McCaffrey?
Lately taking him first. So I wasn't getting like any of him early on. I moved him up a little bit because originally I think I was going in with him ranked behind like Neighbors and Nico, so I was just never getting McCaffrey. And then I moved him up some because I do think that he's just one of those guys where like his ADP is probably wrong. He's either a top of the first round finisher or he's like a second or third round pick, or obviously worse, like if he gets hurt.
Yeah.
Like I think it's pretty unlikely that he ends up being, like the 8th or 9th best guy.
Which I would argue that doesn't mean it's wrong. It means that it's like maybe right, that's like
it means
the middle
like
of his range of outcomes. I know what you
wrong
mean.
In terms of like
this is not where he's going to finish on the season.
Order,
like,
right?
Probably not.
Like,
yeah.
I think he's kind of polarized. Like I don't think he's
I agree with that.
Like 8 through 10 very often.
Yeah.
So I did move him up because it was like I don't want just like none of this guy. So I've been getting him a bit more lately, mostly by design. Because
you're like you said, you move him up for other reasons, not necessarily just because of your player eval there. Devin Achane goes at the 9 hole here, so maybe we have a shot at a unique build.
Yeah, I wish I should have done this on my other computer where I have all the combination stuff that I put together, but I forgot.
Christian McCaffrey is here for us at the 12 hole. That's just an auto click, right?
Yeah.
And then just take the highest ADP.
So like this is where normally I would want McCaffrey probably. And then I would just be figuring out which one of St. Brown, Henry, Thomas, London he's paired with the least, which I don't know off the top of my head. So I'd probably go St. Brown.
Yeah. Without your matrix, I think the best guess would be whoever is highest ADP, just because they're both first rounders who don't go at the turn. All right, let's do it. CMC, Amon-Ra, St. Brown. I could actually find it in Discord. You posted your matrix in the Endgame Discord.
I just pulled that up.
Okay.
I don't have my like script up that I can just type everything in.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, that matrix is in the Endgame Discord. I should have thought to open it. So yeah, McCaffrey's with St. Brown 4% of the time, so that's good.
Okay, yeah, I like that. What about Brian Thomas Jr.? Anybody else that you think we should have? Who would have been like
Brian Thomas? I think that was the right pick. Brian Thomas is 10%. Nico's 11. I don't remember if he was already gone, right? Yeah, Genty's 2, but he was gone. Henry is 10. So yeah, I think Amon-Ra was the right pick.
Yeah. Huh, that's interesting that Genty's only 2%. That surprises me a little bit, because I would have expected earlier on in the drafts when CMC could still be had in the second round, I would have expected more people to just be like, all right, let's just take these two running backs, get off to that high T start. So that's interesting that they're not taken together that much.
I think it's a combination of both of them going in the like mid to late first round, a pretty decent amount of the time.
True. Yeah. Similar to like Amon-Ra, St. Brown.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of like my guess there was that you were going to get the lower pairing on Amon-Ra, because it's just harder to get him at 13.
Yeah. Yes, good drafting with you, Fact 74 again. Billy, Adam does not want to talk publicly about his combos, but you can find it. He did a video on it in Engame Syndicate.
I'm fine talking about like the combos, like they're publicly available. I see. Don't want to get too far into like what I'm doing with them, because just put a video on it on Endgame, and that would kind of feel like not fair.
Right. I mean, there's actually you can look up some of the 2-man combos, like with ETR has a tool out there to just look up if you just want to look up like pairings. It's available there. I always do. Adam and I have had a lot of conversations about these because I'm always like, there's a part of me that's like, well, I don't know how valuable it is, because it doesn't look like you often don't run into teams that overlap a ton in the playoffs anyway. So I'm like, okay, every team is unique, obviously, for the first 14 weeks. You're just playing it against your pod. And then from there, it's like, well, I don't feel like I run into the same pairings over and over when I get to the playoffs. But I might be, first of all, I might be underselling that. But you've also made some good points as to why there might be some value to these combos. Even if it's not that common.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still like everything in large field best ball is minimally important, I think. But
right.
Like the most important thing is that you get lucky in the playoffs.
Yeah.
By 1,000,000%. But I do think that if you can find, and I think the thing is like, it's not even finding like lower owned combos. Like obviously it's good. Like I think, us taking Amon-Ra there at 4% instead of Thomas at 10%, like that's good. But you're still, let's say Amon-Ra has a great season. When you get to the playoffs, you're still going to have a ton of like McCaffrey, Amon-Ra, because the Amon-Ra team's carried and you get that higher ownership. Yeah. It's where I think you can actually find like the 1% pairings, and the ownership can't get higher because nobody has them.
Right.
And so, and like to your point, it's not that it's like a problem in the playoffs. You'll get there and there'll be 35, 40% ownership on a few guys, and generally they're paired together, but like you still have plenty of guys on your team generally that 1 or 2 people have. It's not a problem, but it's also just, you can create some nice situations for yourself potentially where you're just the only person with like these 2 or 3 good players.
And it is like, it's a 1,000-person field on DraftKings in the final, so it is still like a sort of a large field GPP at the end, or not large field, but like mid-sized GPP, where getting some unique combos is certainly helpful.
Yeah, like when you send those out in DFS, you're basically playing chalk, but you're still trying to find like a pivot or 2, which but like it's not big enough where you want to like sacrifice a ton in the way of projection. But if you can kind of keep the same projection and be a little bit different, it certainly helps.
Yeah. I'll sort by ADP here. Wait till our pick. I have a guess about something. We could do McLaurin, Jaden Daniels. I know you're a Commanders fan, so that's an option. Or do you like anybody else here?
I like McLaurin Daniels. McCaffrey McLaurin's also 4%, so that's pretty nice.
That is pretty nice. Do you want to do that combo?
Yeah. McCaffrey, Jackson, Smith, and Jigba is like 12%.
Not quite as fun.
No. Yeah, I like that one. That's a good start.
That is a good start.
I will say that I love, and I mean, obviously, I like the McLaurin Jaden Daniels pairing too. In general, on DraftKings, I love going mid-round quarterback because I kind of just hate that like 100 to 120 range of wide receivers and tight ends and running backs. So I really like those teams where you get like, Goff, May, McCarthy or something like that. But obviously getting Daniels and McLaurin's nice. And also it's not a very common stack. Like it's obviously owned, like people are trying to get it. But it's relatively low owned. Like I think yesterday I got like McLaurin, Debo, Daniels for maybe the first time. And I looked it up and it was only like a 3 or 4% owned stack.
Really? For that triple?
Yeah.
I guess because you have to reach a little bit to get Debo there, although not even that much because oftentimes you're not getting at the turn with Jaden and McLaurin. It's like mid. So, that's interesting. Maybe you have to reach a little bit for Debo. Yeah, I mean, we just saw it literally in the last draft. Somebody went Jaden Daniels at 35. The next person went Jalen Hurts at 36, but then they took Terry McLaurin with Jalen Hurts, so they stopped the 11 hole from getting the combo. Does seem like it's kind of hard to get. To me, like Terry McLaurin is someone that goes probably slightly earlier than he should on average on DraftKings. So I don't want him unless I'm going to get Jaden Daniels a lot of the time.
Yeah, I have some like that makes sense to me. Like I don't think I have a ton of McLaurin. Obviously I like him. I like his ceiling, and I'm not overly concerned about his contract situation, although obviously it would be nice if that got resolved sooner. But I am a little concerned, and maybe it's just because I'm a Commanders fan and I am used to them failing. I'm a little concerned about year 2 of Jaden Daniels and, the league having time to adjust and him having a much more difficult schedule. Not that, I think he's like, I don't think last year was a fluke, but I think it was a much better than like 50th percentile outcome. So I am kind of just concerned about them in general.
Yeah. I mean, I thought he was going to be good. Like, I think that he's such a good, like he's such a good thrower and then also such a good runner. It's like, my biggest concern is injury. It's less that he's going to be figured out, because it's like, he's such a freak that like, how are you going to figure out how to stop this guy who just like has an awesome arm and he's awesome on his legs?
Yeah.
I don't know. So
and
it's
I think
tough
Debo,
to figure out.
Like, you can say what you want about Debo, the player now versus Debo, the player a few years ago, but I think he's a great fit for what Washington would like to do, just stylistically. Like, I think he's going to help out a lot.
Yeah, like none of their, I forget what the exact stat is, but it's basically none of their passing touchdowns last year were like caught outside of the end zone. It was like every single passing touchdown was caught in the end zone. Right. Not 100%, but something close to it. Whereas now Debo gives you that extra dimension of like, you can actually just carry it, like yak abilities for Debo. So maybe they get a little bit different there. Billy says, I think there's some hypothetical values in the ownership combinations. I also think a good amount of those lack of pairings can be reverse engineered from ADP. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is very intuitive, like what we did with CMC and Amon-Ra. Like it was kind of the intuitive thing.
Yeah. The one thing that like I like having the data for, because people have talked, for years about the idea of like flipping the board and getting low on pairings and stuff. The thing that's tough is not necessarily knowing. There's actually only like a couple of players generally that you want to do that with, because if you have guys that have like a lot of variability in their ADP, they're not going to be that low owned. Like they'll be, 6% instead of 10% or something.
Right.
There's only a few guys really where it's like you're getting 1% owned, like just combos that people don't have. And it's the players that have like the stickiest ADP where they're just like, they're not moving around. So actually knowing the players, I think is really useful. I do disagree with the point about, at least sort of disagree with his point about your own combinations, because that's really just like a risk management thing. That's not affecting your EV really. And also with pod luck and everything, I don't think it's not like your teams are all competing against each other. It's not like DFS tournament, so I don't totally agree with that. Like, I think the most interesting thing to the ownership is that if you have some sub 1% pairing of stud players that nobody else is getting, and you get to the finals, you just have this team that if those studs go off, have zero competition.
Right. We are almost back on the clock. Travis Hunter here, Travion Henderson, RJ Harvey, Chris Olave, James Conner.
I really like getting to some combination of the rookies here, just taking advantage.
I do too.
Taking advantage of volatility.
Yep, I'm a big fan of getting to. I'm pretty high on RJ Harvey. Just from a like full PPR, should be a pass catcher here. I also Travis Hunter, Travion Henderson. Happy with any of them. Do you have a like combo you prefer here?
Sorry, I was actually trying to find that script. I think Travis Hunter for sure, because we're a little light on wide receiver and I don't want to be chasing.
Let's do it. Yep.
And then probably Laporta with Amon-Ra.
Oh yeah, that's right. We do have Amon-Ra. Good call. There you go. All right, so we're at 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 3 wide receivers, and a tight end with Jaden Daniels, Christian McCaffrey, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Travis Hunter, and Sam Laporta. Not a bad start. Now now we probably want to take target Goff at like 108.
Yeah.
Probably don't want to try to pass that.
Yeah.
I guess we already have Jaden Daniels, who I forget.
Right, yeah. I mean, we don't need to reach for it. You have Trevor Lawrence as a fallback also.
Yep.
Purdy goes before them, but if he were to fall, you have that.
Yep. Which can happen sometimes.
Yeah.
Purdy will fall and Goff will go early.
Yeah. That whole QB range from like ADP 90 through like 120 kind of just gets mixed around a ton.
Yeah. Yeah, please do like the stream. Good reminder from Billy. Trying to get better at reminding people. Please do like the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. If you want to get notifications when I go live, which happens a lot this week, hit that little notification bell to get alerts. And of course, comments help quite a bit. If you comment under the stream, comment on what we talked about. If you have thoughts on any of the conversations we have today, make sure you bring them up. We can talk about it more under the stream. By the way, I also have a Discord that you are free to join, which is in the link in the description of this video. All right, so at 84-85, kind of a gross part of the draft coming up for us. Do you have any go-tos here?
Hang on a sec.
You're just constantly running your script, aren't you? That's just what
I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to get it up, but it won't.
Let me see if I have mine up.
So what you said, 84-85?
Yeah.
I don't. Matthew Golden, Pacheco Golden, I like a lot. I know Davis pushed that one, and I completely agreed with him.
Pacheco Golden, is that a rare one?
No, it's just I think 2 of the better picks in that range.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a better way to say.
That's funny.
What I was trying to say.
I forgot. I lost mine. I do have it script saved elsewhere, but I did the whole thing in Jupyter Lab, and apparently you need to save your work there because I lost my searches that I had done.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to go find it on while I'm streaming. But we can. Adam did warn us that that he doesn't really have player takes. It's more which I don't really like. I have some this year. I've done a little bit more research than I did last year, so I'm a little bit more like I'm a little bit more takey than historically. But I think you and I both come from like build good lineups, like which obviously players are part of it, but like a lot of the time you can just outsource like who are the best picks.
Yeah, and I mean for me too, I'm more interested in teams than players, like NFL teams than players.
Sure.
I mean, I tweeted something of Jerry Jeudy just went, but I might have him like once this year. And like, it's not a Jerry Jeudy take. It's if I get beat because guys going the top 100 on the Cleveland Browns are what you need, then like, okay, I'm fine with that. Like I'll take guys from offenses that have some semblance of a chance of being good.
Yeah, no, I'm very much the same. I do not draft a ton of Jerry Jeudy for that same reason.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I have a decent amount of like Goddard and Kincaid and stuff. And it's just like, I don't have takes on them as players. Like Kincaid might suck. He might've gotten unlucky last year. I don't know, but I know he's on the Bills and they don't have a clear cut. Like they're going to be a great offense with no clear cut number one guy. Like Keon Coleman, same thing. I don't know if he's good. I know he's going to get opportunities. Oh, see, I'm
out on, I've not drafted Keon Coleman like at all. Just because he didn't like, he had the opportunities last year and just didn't do anything with them.
I mean, somebody's catching touchdowns for that team. And,
that is likely true.
And there's not like a clear-cut guy beyond Keon Coleman who's doing it. Like obviously Shakir is good, but completely different type of receiver.
Yeah. I guess the issue for me is that like nobody was good outside of Shakir last year. So like who says any of them need to be like, it was just so spread out.
But like that's also completely baked into the price.
True.
Like Kincaid at tight end, the Bills' clear number one tight end is going like 130th overall.
Oh, Kincaid is a different, like Kincaid.
But totally I mean, like even Coleman, like the guy's going around Coleman. Mostly suck.
Yeah. I don't think Pacheco is here, so we can't do the Pacheco Golden combo.
Speaking of Shakir,
yeah, Shakir currently still there. Golden's still there. Tony Pollard, a player that I kind of like in this range.
Yeah, my problem with Pollard is I love Spears on DraftKings.
True, Spears makes sense too.
Not that you can't just like have them both, I guess, but
you can, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd probably go like Cup and Golden would probably be what I did.
Gross. Cooper Kupp. All right.
I mean, I don't have much of him, but like, or Pollard Golden or Downs Golden. Like, actually, what I would probably do is go Golden Reed.
Good call. Let's do that. I probably don't have a Cooper Kupp share yet on DraftKings, so
I only have a couple, and I'm just always biased against Cooper. Like, I didn't draft Cooper Kupp in the first round when he was good, like ever.
Yeah.
And then like for me, I basically take the ETR rankings and then have them in there as like my baseline, and then just as I do drafts and realize I'm not getting enough of guys that I want, I move them up or down or whatever. But like when I put those in and they're below market on Cooper Kupp, like I personally just am never
right. And they love the dusty wide receivers. Yeah, exactly. Right. Although it's like he's one of those guys like could be like Adam Thielen from a couple of years ago. Right. Like could very much be that exact pattern matching.
He's one of those where like I'm never like, oh, I want to get Cooper Kupp here. But then at the same time, it's like you look at the receivers around him and it's like, okay, is he really any different? Like he obviously could be better.
Yeah. It feels more exciting to take the Packers guys. Like they both feel more exciting to me than taking Cooper Kupp. Yeah. But then at the end of the day, Cooper Kupp could just be targeted a ton in Seattle.
Right. I do love the Packers offense. Like speaking of just going after offenses, like I don't know who you're going to want overall out of Jaden Reed and Matthew Golden, and you could throw Dobbs in there. You can throw whoever in there. Like it's going to be spread out. They're kind of like Bills light, I think, where they would be a pain in the ass in redraft, but just, I don't know, give me pieces of the Packers in like as many drafts as I can get them. And they're going to have good weeks.
Unfortunately, I am with you. I'm drafting a lot of the Packers this year. It feels like they all feel like they're pretty good values where they go. Like Romeo Dobbs, I absolutely love where he goes. Tucker Kraft, I just think is a good tight end. Jordan Love goes there. Oh, really? You don't go Tucker Kraft? No, he's like, you can like double click him with Jordan Love too.
Yeah, I don't really know why I don't have much of him other than I think a lot of times I'm taking quarterback when he's going.
Yeah. I want to be clear here. Billy says, I like the Packers too. I do not like the Packers. I do not like that I have to draft the Packers. Very clear. Very, very clear about this. Do not like the Packers, but I do like drafting them sometimes. Or I feel obligated to draft them because I think they're good picks. All right. So you doing any NFL content this year? Do you have any plans to?
I don't know. Probably will because we're gonna have.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have Run the Sims.
Yeah, we have Sims that run the Sims for NFL. So I will be. I don't know why I said I don't know. Like
I'll be in your DMs.
Yeah. If I'm not, I'm pretty sure it's part of my job description over there that I'm doing content for NFL Sims.
Right. Good.
So yeah, I will be. How much? I don't know. Like I've kind of thought about like, am I going to? Because like we're not gonna have NBA stuff. As far as I know, so it's
probably have something to do with it if you did.
Well, right, and I don't want to. But like, so it's kind of, am I gonna do the thing where like I just kind of make up NFL content to do every day of the week, which I'm gonna hate, or am I gonna do NBA shows during the week, even though we don't directly have an NBA product, and then do a Sunday NFL show or something? So I'll have to figure that out, but definitely will be doing NFL content over there since we will or do already have Sims.
Yeah. Oh, are they ready? I mean, are
so they kind of. Ready? I mean, like they already had them functional and working when we bought them. We're doing stuff to improve them and get them more how we want them.
Yep.
So they will be at least they're going to be our own, by the season. But like, yeah, they do already exist.
Very cool. Yeah. I have not used Run the Sims for NFL. I don't think. I think I've used them for like for spring football at some point. I think I used them.
Yeah.
So I have like some idea how they work.
Yeah, I know Brian liked them a lot for Showdown already.
Yeah. I'll have to check them out. All right, so we're coming back up at 108. Jared Goff goes. So Jared Goff was we have him double stacked, but he goes to, I guess, to the Gibbs team. So like a sort of stack there. I think it qualifies.
Yeah.
Some picks. So I didn't like the picks usually like the 84, 85 range. I do sometimes really like the picks that come at 108. It's like a hit or miss. Like sometimes I really love them. Sometimes I hate them.
Like when I'm just sitting there looking at like a Giants running back, or I can't think of a receiver off the top of my head that's normally like Brandon Ayuk. I'm just like, I don't want any of this shit.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get somebody that falls.
Yeah. And we're not going to name names because people are probably drafting with us. But yeah. That was one of them. Jaden Higgins. I love Jaden Higgins.
I don't know if I have him at all. I don't know why.
Oh man.
I should.
You got to get in on Jaden Higgins. Yeah, I think he's going to be good.
I think that's one of those where like ETR was probably just lower on him, and I was just like, yeah, whatever. I don't care about this guy, and so I just keep not getting him.
Sort of hoping for Fields to come back to us too.
I love getting Fields when he drops at least a little bit.
Even though we already have a quarterback, it's just like we could have been done it too with
right
Daniels and Fields. So that would have been fun.
And this is another reason, by the way, like looking at the board right now, why I end up taking an okay amount of Keon Coleman. It's just like,
good point.
Around.
Yeah.
Like he was one that I did specifically move up off of the ETR rankings because I just wasn't getting him. And I was just like, I don't want to just not have Keon Coleman when the opportunity cost here is non-existent.
Do we just go with Jordan Love now?
We
got the double stack.
I don't remember what his ADP is, but
yeah, his ADP is 123. So probably not going to make it back. He could. Go Jordan.
We don't really have a lot of outs if he doesn't.
Yeah.
And all the players available suck.
Could go Scattaboo, Brandon Ayuk, Tyler Warren.
I don't care. I hate them all.
We only have one running back.
We probably should grab like Dobbins or something.
We could go Dobbins, yeah.
I don't have much of him, but like he's one where it's he's weird to me because like he feels boring and not exciting, but I think he's actually really volatile.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't feel that way. Like he could just, be close to fully back to what he used to be from an explosiveness standpoint. He is still young. He's in an offense that should be good, which again, like that's kind of the thing. Like I have trouble clicking Tracy or like Scatabo that often because it's just like, what am I hoping for here? Whereas Dobbins, your best case scenario is that like he's just explosive and good on a good offense.
Just goes back to what he was early in the season last year when he was explosive. And I've heard some like injury analysis from Twitter doctors who, of course, we always trust our Twitter doctors. But I have heard that it can happen with the injury that he had, that like you can get that explosiveness back, but then you just get worn out. So I think that might be, and I tweeted out at him that he in weeks 1 and 2 last year was like top 3 in the NFL in like explosive run rate and missed tackles force, like those metrics, and then was really bad the rest of the year. But that could just be that he was like his injury kind of wore him down, and maybe now with an extra year, it's possible that he is just healthier. So I don't draft a ton of him, but I think I can totally see the upside.
Yeah, I would say he's one. I don't think I have much of him at all, but he's definitely one where I could see me kind of kicking myself because, again, like the opportunity cost is just non-existent mostly. Like, sure, there's going to be players from that range, but there's not guys in that range that I'm looking at and saying like, oh yeah, I clearly think this guy has a leg up on Dobbins.
Yeah,
like, every player in that range, I'm looking at them and going like, I mean, I can see how they work out, but also they suck.
That's a good point. Like it's like on the one hand, I look at the number and I'm like 110 just feels too high, or we got him at 109 feels too high for J.K. Dobbins. Like I don't trust him there. But then I look at the entire range there and it's like, okay,
right. Like my favorite guy in the range to take is Charbonnet, but at the same time, like he just could be standing on the sideline all season if Kenneth Walker stays healthy and they continue to not really split carries. Right.
Yeah, it's a good point. It is like it feels like more of an opportunity cost than it actually is when you look at the players there.
Yeah. Which also, like I heard chat was mentioning him being washed. I don't have a ton of him, but I like taking ETN when he's there.
Yeah.
Like there's so much volatility on the Jags. in terms of who's going to get touches in that backfield, and maybe it just ends up being a mess and nobody's great, but it's clearly baked into the price. So I don't mind that one. Like, yeah, I'll take the uncertainty on the guy playing with, say what you want about Trevor Lawrence, but playing with Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter over the guy playing with Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart, just that god-awful offense.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm liking this team so far. We're at 2-2-5-1. You can see we are on the far right side of the board here. Christian McCaffrey, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Jaden Daniels, Travis Hunter, Sam Laporta, Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, Jordan Love, J.K. Dobbins. So we've got double stacked Jordan Love, single stacked Jaden Daniels. Looking good. We might be able to add Tucker Kraft here at 132. There are some picks that I like there. Did you see Cam Scadaboo fall a lot in your drafts?
Not a ton.
He's one that I like. There's a lot of volatility in where he goes. So that's also like the hesitation to take him at 109. It's like, I've gotten him at like 130. I wouldn't be that shocked if he made it back to us. So I guess maybe
when he falls, I like getting him. I just don't like taking him around like 100.
Yeah. Najee Harris, by the way, goes at pick 117. I just saw he's going to start training camp or is expected to start training camp on the NFI list, which I don't actually know like the ramifications of that. Let's see. Let me see if I can find anything.
Yeah, so I don't either, other than like, obviously that's not what you would like. He's somebody that I have a decent amount of just because of not liking other players in that range.
Yep.
And then like now like I moved him back, but he falls more. I posted on Twitter the other day. I drafted. It might have been like it's probably my first or second Judkins team period. But I drafted a team the other day that my first two running backs were Judkins and Harris. And the team's just like loaded. I think it had like a really unique start also. And that's just kind of how running back worked out. But like Judkins fell to like 120 and Harris fell to like 130. So it's just like, all right, I'll hope for the best here, but this sucks.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the latest. Chargers GM Joe Hortitz just chatted with reporters ahead of camp. Says Najee Harris will report later today. Team has been in contact with doctors who have seen him. Possibility starts camp on NFI list. So that's all we got. So it's possible that he does. Tucker Kraft goes, which not the end of the world. We're already double stacked there. Are you inclined to go with the third quarterback when you already have Jaden Daniels, Jordan Love?
I'm not forcing it, and on this team probably less so because we don't have like the clear guy that it would be.
I see one clear guy it would be. The top recommended in the sidekick right now.
Oh, I didn't see that he was still available.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would depend on who's available at this pick, I think.
Yeah.
I would.
He is there. So we're on the clock.
Actually add to that later too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like a lot of the stuff here. We already have Laporta, so it's not really a team where I care about getting to like Likely or Goddard. Yeah, I would probably go with like Ramondre Lawrence or something.
That's the easy one, and I think probably what I do too here.
Yeah. Ramondre's another one where like I think I have a decent amount of him, not because like I love him, but he's just kind of always there when I'm trying to get that like fourth or fifth running back, or third, depending on how the team looks. And it's kind of like a later Dobbins pick to me, where like it's not sexy, but he's going to be involved probably, and just kind of give you some weeks where he's useful.
Yeah, no, I take him quite a bit on DraftKings also. Feels good where he's going.
Yeah.
Non-football. I actually don't know what is NFI. Is it non-football injury?
Not
that is right. Yeah. Hula says Neil is the anti-Davis. Actually, listening to the AI overlords, because I do look at the sidekick. A lot of my like guests are not. They've got really strong player takes, so like I don't listen to the sidekick at all. I'm just like, all right, we can take your guys. But I feel like Adam, you're going to generally be more open to me just being like, well, the sidekick says we need this, and that therefore I think he's probably a good pick. Like,
yeah, it's kind of funny for somebody that doesn't have player takes. I've also refused to use any tools.
It is funny,
like, because I prefer not getting. Like, I've never tried them, so there's a decent chance like once I use it, I would prefer using it. But I like kind of
thinking for yourself. I
yeah,
mean,
think for myself, like kind of being somewhat creative, and I feel like if I just have a list of guys in front of me, like it's gonna make me kind of forget about other things that I could do.
and that is true. Like I have at times felt like, okay, I want to just use my own brain and like think for myself. It's particularly great for slow drafts though. Like if I wake
Yeah,
up and I'm on the clock in 30 drafts, just like having that there, because it saves you so much time in thinking about it.
that's a really
Yeah.
good point. I'd never thought about that because like I always assumed that if I used them, it would be like close to the season when I'm trying to get in as many drafts as I can,
Oh yeah.
and like I'm multi-tabling and getting lost. But yeah, slow drafts, which I never do. But part of the reason I never do them is when it's my turn to draft, I don't remember who I have. I don't remember what I was trying to do.
Yeah. No, they're pretty amazing for slow drafts. If you're trying to get volume in, just like save yourself the brain power. I like it. I'm basically always on the clock in 30 plus slow drafts, so it's useful for that. And I'm like confident in their ability that they do a good job with it. So I'm confident I'm going to be drafting good teams using it. I do like you said, like I like to have my own takes. Like I don't want to like finish the season and be like, oh, these are all teams. I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing if I just have the leg up guys drafting my teams for me, but that's like not as fun. Like I want to have my player takes. I want to be going after my guys. So like kind of balancing it in some ways.
Yeah, like anytime I've thought about doing my own best ball streams, in addition to like not really being interested in it, I'm like, oh, I could download Draft Caddy and use that. And then I'm like, but I would actually have to figure out how to use it because I personally haven't. Like, I'm sure it's good. I know people like it, but like there's a learning curve for me to like even use it.
I keep meaning to go back. So I asked Brett because for a while I was thinking that I couldn't use Draft Caddy with Sidekick at the same time because they do kind of different things. I previously used the Draft Caddy and really enjoyed it, but then I've run into an issue with for whatever reason, when I use it on my Firefox, it like does a thing where like it will like scroll endlessly and just like screws up my drafts. And I had forgotten about it until I talked to Brian. It was like I reinstalled it and it's doing that again. So I need to. Doesn't seem to be an issue for anybody but me, but something I should probably work with Brian.
Once you turn 40, tech doesn't work anymore.
Exactly. It's not my fault. It's the tech.
Right. Although I think Brian's like 60 or something.
Yeah, exactly. Brian is older than I am. So people do not realize that Brian is older than I am. I think the gray in my beard, maybe a little bit more gray. So I look older, but Brian's actually older than me. I like the Sidekick on streams. Okay. I feel like a lot of people hate having the Sidekick and that kind of tools on streams. But I do enjoy. I think it adds a little bit sometimes, as long as you don't always see like, all right, we're going to take the top on the Sidekick every single time. You can add to the conversation. Save you some stress as a drafter.
Yeah. At the very least, like in case of emergency kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing I do, so I'm having a lot of guests on. Some of my guests will use, I'll ask them, who do you like to take here? We're on the clock. And then they'll go into a 2-minute long rant about a player without telling me who they're different players, not telling me who they want. So then I just take the top available. All right, we are on the clock. Hunter Henry is here. Romeo Dobbs, a player that I like quite a bit. We could add a triple stack there if you want.
Yeah. Packers are definitely a team where I don't mind the triple stack at all.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to be so spread out, I think.
I like Eckler quite a bit too. He actually makes sense with the Jaden Daniels team, I think.
Yeah, I think he makes sense with Daniels. In general, I don't like him, but
definitely as a person,
more sense on DraftKings and also with Daniels.
Why are you anti Eckler?
I just don't know what his. So it's very team dependent for me. On a team where, like, if I took a couple running backs early, and I don't think I'm gonna. Like if I took a couple running backs early, or just like I'm strong at running back, I don't really like taking him that much because I don't really know what his path is to like actually being really good and high scoring. But I think he's got a very clear path to just like being a useful guy that gets you 12 points a lot. And so like when I'm weak at running back and I know I'm gonna get my like home run upside throughout the rest of the draft by just like drafting backup running backs. I like Eckler in the sense of like, okay, this guy will get me some points on a week-to-week basis until hopefully an
Jarquez Hunter.
Yeah.
No, I sort of feel the same way. And my initial instinct was he probably also has some nice upside because like if Brian Robinson gets hurt, he probably would take over as the starter. But like
less confident in that
he still
was like he was fine, he was good, but he wasn't.
He didn't really take
a
over.
difference maker.
Yeah, because they went to Mick Weapon. I forget what it was actually. Yeah, Mick Nichols instead.
And then now they have the guy that they drafted,
Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Yeah,
and
so
they have Debo.
Yep. And he's just a year older, and yeah, so it's probably right that he does not have that massive upside. I do like I like that he has some single game upside, even if it's not going to be 25, 30 points, just like because when they get in the game script where they're throwing the ball to the running back a lot, then suddenly he can rack up points in a hurry.
There's game scripts that work for him. The guy that he's splitting the backfield with isn't very good, I don't think. I mean, like the beginning of last year, Robinson, I was like, wow, maybe he is good. And then he just kept getting banged up and hurt. So like, I don't know, maybe Ryan Robinson's good, but I don't think I have a single share of him.
Yeah. Josh asked if Kimani Vidal is in play now. I would say like in play is I have not drafted him. I don't know that I plan to draft him soon, but like he's a name to keep in mind if you want to take him. No issue. I think he's a player to mix in the 20th round.
Yeah, I mean he's not worse than other guys I'm taking in the 20th round, I guess.
Let me look it up. I can look up exactly how drafted he is through 31 drafts have taken him through the first 15,108. So he is 0.2% drafted through June 27th. So yeah, you would be unique if you want to go after some Kimani Vidal.
He mentioned people were playing him last year. I'm not going to say who yet, obviously, but there's one guy that I'm getting a lot of because I don't understand why he's being treated any differently this year than last year. And it's not Kimani Vidal.
Okay. I like that. Teasing it a little bit. Is he somebody that we might consider with our next pick?
Not our next one. He's like around 200. Okay.
Nice. Rocket Sand. Are we talking about Miles Sanders?
No, I think isn't there an actual? I don't know. I feel like there was a guy that I played in college football.
Don't know him.
From South Carolina.
So we're talking about. Is his name actually Rocket? Raheem.
Yeah, that's Raheem Sanders.
For some reason, Raheem immediately came. I think because there's been another NFL player named Raheem who went by Rocket before. I can't even think who it is now. But I immediately thought of Raheem, even though I don't play college football and don't actually know this player.
It's not who I was thinking of. I was thinking of somebody on SMU, I think.
Raheem Sanders. Yep. A lot of people throwing out potential names there, but we can have that conversation when we get there. What's up, Steve? Good to see you. Oh yeah, Rocket Ishmael. That's right. That's a 90s receiver.
Yeah.
We do. I don't believe either of us has the inside scoop on Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt.
He's definitely somebody that I don't have that I keep sort of just forgetting to move up, and that I should have some of, because like that's the perfect example of somebody that like I like the idea of drafting because I don't know anything about him. I know that like it's not like they spent a ton of draft equity on him, but you have Brian Robinson, who's a huge question mark. You have Austin Eckler, who's old and somewhat of a question mark. You have an offense that's probably going to score a lot of points. Like there's some path to him just being involved. Like nobody thought McNichols would ever have a useful week last year at this point.
Well, do you know the story of? I mean, I could not do the story justice of what happened to Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, but it was something like he was like took a redshirt year and somebody with his number played in a game, so he ultimately got suspended for somebody who might not have been actually him, but who had his number playing in a game in a season that he redshirted and like somehow got completely screwed by the NCAA as a result. We are on the clock. Who do you like here?
I don't even know what our team looks like now.
Jerome Ford I like quite a bit, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I hate the Browns, but like he's my highest owned Brown by a lot.
Pop Douglas is available here. I don't hate that. Pat Bryant.
I don't mind Roshan.
We're at 3-5-6-1 is where we're at.
What tight ends are there?
Mayson Taylor, Darren Waller.
That's gross.
DeAndre Hopkins there.
Yeah, I don't have much of him. Probably should. Same thing. Good offense. Who knows how it's going to play out?
Let's do it.
Yeah, he's
Right.
one of those two where like he's buried on ETR for whatever reason, and I just like didn't unbury him, but also like why not take shots at a Ravens receiver
who like wasn't amazing last year, but like still might still have some juice. You never know. And now he's playing with Lamar Jackson, and yeah,
and when you're at 180, you don't need that much. Like
yeah, exactly. All right, I'll read off the team to refresh your memory on where we're at. So we're at Jaden Daniels at quarterback, Christian McCaffrey, J.K. Dobbins, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Travis Hunter, Sam Laporta, Matthew Golden. On the bench, we have Jaden Reed, Jordan Love, Ramondre Stevenson, Trevor Lawrence, Romeo Dobbs, Austin Eckler, Jerome Ford, and DeAndre Hopkins, which is 3-5-7-1. Pretty balanced, I'd say.
Yeah, so I think we can get. Yeah. Who was our running back too? Dobbins.
Yeah, McCaffrey, Dobbins, Stevenson.
But I mean, at least I like that we got like this is the team where I like that we have Eckler.
Yeah,
I like that we have Stevenson.
Ford, like we have a lot of those kind of like not that exciting, but like you think that like week to week, one of them is probably going to get us 12 points,
right?
Like, so it's
they have roles. They're not the guys that are you're drafting because you're hoping the guy ahead of them gets hurt and they have no value until then.
Yeah, exactly. And then we can throw on some upside running backs later. Yeah, I'm feeling good about this. I think our running back room works out, and obviously we're counting on McCaffrey being an anchor for one of those spots. Team is working out okay, I think. So we are probably approaching the spot. So would this next pick be where we consider the player that you're talking about from that you liked last year?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Justice Hill, another one of those guys we could throw into that mix of like third down running backs. We're going to have their spike weeks when the game script works out.
Yeah, Justice Hill's not who I was talking about, but I do have a lot of Justice Hill just because, again, like it's so unusual. He goes like 185 or whatever. It's so unusual to get a running back there that has a very clear role. And like, I don't know if I feel like people maybe think that like Keaton Mitchell being healthy has an impact there, but I don't really think it does because Justice Hill is such a good third down back. Like it's such a clearly defined role and skill set. Like, I don't think that's where Keaton Mitchell's coming in. Like, I think Keaton Mitchell ends up being a guy that like spells Henry sometimes, would certainly look good if Henry gets hurt. Big play threat, but like not on the field a lot. I don't think he's much of a threat to like overtake Justice Hill for Justice Hill's very clear role.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. I think Justice Hill, his role is pretty safe. Probably not going to expand much. Like he doesn't have the upside to just be like the bell cow if Derrick Henry gets hurt. Right. Then Keaton Mitchell would take that role, but like he's going to have his role regardless. Right. Maybe it expands a little bit. Yeah.
I don't think he's super likely to be somebody that like wins you the league because if Derrick Henry gets hurt, I think it just turns into some like gross timeshare. But he has that clearly defined role where like if you're weak at running back, there's going to be a bunch of weeks where he just scores 10 points because he catches enough passes.
Yeah. All right, we are coming up on our pick. Yoshivas.
Yeah, Marshawn Lloyd.
Love it. Yeah, I'm in on Lloyd this year. Happy to go back there. And then do we want one of these tight ends?
Yeah, I'd probably
talk about.
Yeah. Lloyd was the guy though. He was going to like pick 150 last year or something. And like, so last year I barely had any of him because I didn't really understand why he was going that early. But he was going like, I want to say 150, 160, somewhere in there last year. And nothing has changed other than he happened to get hurt last year. Like
I drafted a ton of him last year. I was on the other side. It was just, to me, it was the coach speak was like really positive. It sounded like he was going to have a role right away. So it was like, all right, if he's going to be, like they were talking about like a 1A, 1B almost situation. Right. It was like, we don't want to give Josh Jacobs the entire workload. It was never like in their, not something that Matt LaFleur had ever done, giving somebody a workload like Josh Jacobs got. And then, of course, he got hurt and kept getting hurt, and they were kind of forced to use Josh Jacobs all year. The one knock on him is the coach speak continued to be really good in like the early part of this year. Like they talked about it like, somebody brought up like who could be the leading, could Tucker Kraft be the leading pass catcher on the team this year? And they were like, oh yeah, absolutely. Like it's wide open. Tucker Kraft could certainly be the guy. And they mentioned like they brought up themselves, I'd love to see what Marshawn Lloyd can do in the passing game. Like they brought that up. So I was like really high on him early. And then he's got hurt again this summer. And that was like one of the things LaFleur said is like, at some point he's got to like get out there and like prove himself, which probably shouldn't really like that's obvious. Like shouldn't dampen expectations all that much. But it's a little bit concerning that like he just has not been out there at all. But,
well, and I mean, to that point, I haven't drafted him, but Kendre Miller, like new coaching staff that doesn't hate him. Obviously he could just keep getting hurt, but like if he doesn't, are we sure he's not just like the guy that everybody was drafting last year?
Yeah. No, I
I'm
have
thinking
not
more
taken
Devin
much.
Neal, but that's like the consensus opinion, but I don't think it's really based in anything. Like people have no idea. It's just that it's easy to assume Miller just can't get on the field.
They also brought in Cam Akers, so it's just like a kind of a muddled situation. Just like I don't know,
yeah. But that's the other thing with the Packers. Like Marshawn Lloyd is still the number 2 as long as he's healthy, seemingly. Like
I mean, Emmanuel Wilson like sort of was okay last year,
he was
so
fine.
there's slightly muddled, but I think Marshawn Lloyd
like it's not even like Lloyd like just didn't have the role that people thought he was going to last year. Like he was just hurt the entire year. He played like 1 or 2 games or whatever.
It's like was about to come back, and then he had appendicitis. Like
which isn't even an injury.
Yeah. We are coming back. We might want another tight end here. We're at 3, 6, 7, 2. Probably another upside, maybe an upside running back swing, or are you happy with Lloyd there?
I would probably, I don't know if I would do it at this pick, but probably would take one more running back.
These are our final 2 picks. So
I mean, I'd probably go like Woody Marks.
I cannot find him. Where is he? I didn't see him. So we got Kamunungai.
It's the same play.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably grab a third tight end. Like if there's one that we like that has some ceiling.
Elijah Arroyo maybe has some ceiling.
That's fine.
I like Harold Fannin. I take him quite a bit.
Yeah, that's fine. Or I mean, you can take a home run wide receiver too if you wanted.
Do those exist here?
Tesla.
I've got Harold. Oh yeah, Tesla. That's an interesting name. Now let's go tight end because I think we need it more. I thought about Tesla, so he was another one on that list of when I was going over. You weren't here for this, but at the beginning of the stream, I went over early round draft picks in this year's draft class who were not 100% drafted. And like if you look at the running backs for the first 3 rounds, they're all 100% drafted. And then Trevor Etienne, the first one off the draft board, the real NFL draft board, who's not 100%. He's only 16% drafted.
Oh wow!
But then
I should have more of him. The problem I'm having with him is I have so much Rico Dowdle.
Yeah, no, it's you're making your bet there. Tesla, I've wrote it down as 91.3. For some reason, I thought Tesla was going less frequent than that. But no, I think what would surprise me was that
Ty Felton.
Yeah, Ty Felton is a guy that you talked me into him a little bit more. Like I was like, you were surprised that I didn't take him in a draft that we did together, and I was like, you're right, I could have taken Ty Felton there. And yeah, I
haven't been taking him as much lately because I've been mixing in more of Tesla and also just kind of haven't needed him as much. But overall, I think I have like 30% so far.
I did not realize how early Tesla went in the NFL draft. Like nobody talks about him at all, and he was like the second rounder.
When I realized it, because I kept seeing his name, it's kind of by ADP, and I was like, I don't know who this is. And then I looked, and I was like, oh, this is the exact same logic as I've been using with Felton. Where it's just
like, an early draft pick.
Yeah, he's a 3rd round pick on an offense that I know is going to be good, and he doesn't have a clearly defined role necessarily if everybody's healthy, but everybody probably won't be healthy. And then there's also some chance that he just ends up with a bigger role than we think anyway. Like that happens all the time.
Yeah, no, I got to start mixing in more Tesla. So it seems like nobody is in on Tesla, and he's just the same exact reasoning as Pat Bryant or Ty Felton, or like all these guys who went earlier than expected. And all right, the final team here, 3-7-7-3 with Jaden Daniels, Christian McCaffrey, J.K. Dobbins, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Travis Hunter, Sam Laporta, Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, Jordan Love, Ramondre Stevenson, Trevor Lawrence, Romeo Dobbs, Austin Eckler, Jerome Ford, DeAndre Hopkins, Marshawn Lloyd, Pat Freiermuth, Kyle Monungai, and Harold Fannin. I feel pretty good about this team.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. We have 2 more Cleveland guys than I would ever like to have, but they're like Cleveland guys that at least I think make sense at cost.
They're pass catchers. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We got a very, very late Harold Fannin in the 20th round. We got Jerome Ford, who should be the pass catching back, and they should be playing from behind a lot. So I think it's pretty strong.
Yeah, I think it's a solid team.
I'm going to be doing another draft. Adam, are you going to join me for another, or what are your plans?
Yeah, I'll stick around. I have nothing to do.
it's All-Star break. I figured this is a good time to get you on.
Yeah. Let me go grab my other computer so I can look at.
All right. Well, while Adam's doing, I'm actually going to run the commercial and go take a piss break. So I will. We will be back momentarily. Got to find it first, though. Football season is right around the corner, and there's no better way to lock in your fantasy dominance early than with Best Ball on DraftKings, where you draft once and ride your roster all season long. And right now, DraftKings is giving all customers a can't-miss offer. Draft one, get one. Enter a lineup in the $15 million Best Ball contest for just $20, and you'll score another Best Ball ticket to play free for a share of $15 million, giving you a second shot to win big. It's easy. Just draft your team once, no weekly management required, and let your top scorers automatically start each week. Across the whole season, every breakout star, every clutch play, every touchdown will count toward your quest for a share of $15 million. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app now to draft your $20 Best Ball lineup and get a second ticket to play free for a share of $15 million. That's 2 chances to win big without ever setting your lineup again. Draft one, get one. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Football season is right around the corner, and there's no better way to lock in your fantasy dominance early than with Best Ball on DraftKings, where you draft once and ride your roster all season long. And right now, DraftKings is giving all customers a can't-miss offer. Draft one, get one. Enter a lineup in the $15 million Best Ball contest for just $20, and you'll score another Best Ball ticket to play free for a share of $15 million, giving you a second shot to win big. It's easy. Just draft your team once, no weekly management required, and let your top scorers automatically start each week. Across the whole season, every breakout star, every clutch play, every touchdown will count toward your quest for a share of $15 million. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app now to draft your $20 Best Ball lineup and get a second ticket to play free for a share of $15 million. That's 2 chances to win big without ever setting your lineup again. Draft one, get one. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Football season is right around the corner, and there's no better way to lock in your fantasy dominance early than with Best Ball on DraftKings, where you draft. All right, we've played it enough times. Adam will be back momentarily with his other computer, where he's looking at the combos as we go. We're going to get into one more draft tonight, and then that'll be it for today. Tomorrow, going to be back with Rich Rebar again in the afternoon, and Kyle Dvorak, same combo that was on the stream a week or two ago. We had a lot of fun and agreed to come back to do some DraftKings drafts. So that'll be fun tomorrow. Friday night, going to be doing the Wolf Pack stream, Flannel Pack stream with D-Bro, with Fantasy Rudrew and Chicago Cubs All-Star Justin Steele. Always a fun stream with those guys. So a lot coming on the stream. I'll be streaming some on Saturday and or Sunday as well. Also going to be doing some short form videos, dropping some shorts on the channel. It's going to be a busy week here for DraftKings Best Ball Week. A lot coming up. But here tonight, just one more draft with Adam, which will be momentarily. There he is. All right, he's back. So maybe I'm thinking about whether I should just get into a draft right now while we set up. I think I'll do that. I'm gonna hop into a draft. Got your other computer, Adam?
Yeah.
Nice. All right. I'm gonna do this. Adam, one thing that I forget when I'm streaming, but remember when I get up to go to the bathroom, is I either strained or maybe tore my hamstring last night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's fun. It's about almost full in this draft. I playing softball. I'm the pitcher, threw a pitch. The batter popped it like a million miles in the air, and I looked up and took one step to go get it, because I think it was in the vicinity that I may have been able to field it, and took one step and felt a pop midway up my calf and some pain, and not something I've ever experienced before. An injury that involves a pop.
That's why pitchers don't catch pop-ups.
Is that right? I mean,
it's actually because of the mound, but
oh yeah, right. Yeah, it was unpleasant. I always love when I get to field a little bit, which I'm worse at it than I expect myself to be. Like, I'm always like, when a ball like dribbles its way towards me, I always expect to be really good, and I just like it. The way it bounces, the way a softball bounces relative to like other ball sports I've played, it's just like so unexpected. Always, I'm always like, shocked that I'm not as good as I expect to be. But yeah, it's always exciting for me when I get to field, and then didn't get my opportunity because I popped something in my calf and all not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was thinking this is going to be like a 6-month recovery type thing. And then it was doing the research like, all right, this is actually not that bad. Just need to like rest, ice, compress, etc.
Yeah. Yeah. I had my, I'm definitely getting old moment today. Like I was just walking around. I walked to like downtown. I was like a mile and a half from my apartment. And I just like, there's like a wooden bench and I just like sat down and was just like sitting by the water, like hanging out. And when I got up, like my back had just like locked up while I was sitting down. I took like 2 steps and I'm just like, I cannot walk back. Like if this doesn't loosen up. And it's like, I stood there for a couple minutes and it got better and I walked back. But I'm just standing there like, this is going to be really embarrassing if I have to Uber back to my apartment because like I physically cannot walk back.
How's the back doing today?
It's better now. Like it just, I needed to stand for a minute. Like it was just, I guess the bench was not good for it, but
I've always had kind of a bad back, which I like. It's worse now that I'm getting older, but like I was recently reminded that like during my when I was a cross country runner, so like in college in my 20s, I used to get a like warm wrap that I could wrap around my back for when I would run, only in cold months. Like it wasn't an issue during hot months, but as it got colder later in the season, my back always tightened up in games or in cross country meets. So I got a heat wrap.
Yeah, I've kind of always had back issues too. Like when I was in high school, I would kind of get headaches from it. And I started going to like a chiropractor and that helped.
That's not fun. Yeah. We got the number 4 pick, by the way, in case you didn't see, which you can sometimes get some nice follows here, some rare combos.
Yeah. Speaking of rare combos, I found it yesterday and it's still up on my computer. How often do you think Baker Mayfield, Bucky Irving, and Chris Godwin are paired together?
A lot, I would guess. Do we go Justin Jefferson here, by the way, or Saquon Barkley?
Yeah.
Jefferson went? Okay, I saw that wrong. Okay, nice.
2.3%.
Really? Wait, so Chris Godwin, just those 3: Chris Godwin, Baker Mayfield, Bucky Irving. So Bucky usually goes around this turn, and Chris Godwin goes on the opposite side of the board. Is that right?
Godwin's like 67 ADP.
Okay, so he's like right in the middle of the board, and then,
yeah, Godwin and Bucky are like 7.5%, so they're just like neutral. But then adding Baker, I think, is the piece that
Baker goes at 8. Oh, that's earlier than I thought. Baker goes. Okay.
Baker goes really early.
That's why I never get Baker. Interesting.
Like Baker and Godwin are still 25%, so it's just like that trio together nobody gets.
Yeah, it just like doesn't quite line up. See, those are the ones, we were talking about earlier that a lot of it is pretty intuitive. Like a lot of it is like you can kind of guess that the combo is going to be rare, but that's one that I would not have guessed it was super
like because the combos themselves, like it's 10% Bucky Baker, it's 7% Bucky Godwin, it's 25% Godwin Baker, but then you put them all together and just nobody does it.
Yeah. PSU. I think you're saying Chris. PSU. Wait, PSU. PSU alum? I don't think I know who that is.
I don't recognize that one. PSU. There is a PSU, but it's not that one.
Yeah.
Or at least that's not the one I'm thinking of.
It might be a big, I'm not sure. Yeah, I saw the name and I thought that he had just done a typo, but no, this is that is this person's name. I want to say like PSU fan is somebody that maybe I know, or a name
it's
that
I know. The college football guy. But I'm completely blanking on what his actual name is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe this guy's, but good to see you, Chris, in pick 12. Oh, we just talked about the McCaffrey Genty. Literally,
that's a good one.
He gets it at pick 12. That's fun. Rare. It's a rare combo. Nice. All right, so we have Barkley. We're going to get something. Well, we might get something fun here. Let me see who else is. Tyreek Hill went already. This is a very DraftKings room.
Yeah,
a lot of surprise picks.
So like with Saquon, the big thing I think is pretty much just like not taking him with Bucky, McBride, Higgins, or Jacobs, or Allen.
Brock Bowers, not Bowers either.
He's like unowned with Bowers.
Oh, well, let's do that.
Yeah,
nice. All right.
Yeah, he's sub 1% with Bowers.
Wow. We got a unique one here. I mean, Bowers at 21 feels pretty good.
Yeah, Bowers fell and Barkley fell.
Yeah. Although Barkley, like, I wonder when they do the update if this will be a little bit less rare than it is right now.
Yeah, certainly
both of them. Yeah. Both of them
and that's
are
like
falling a little.
Tyreek Hill, like in the matrix that like I posted in Endgame. Like Tyreek Hill is somebody that I think just ends up coming in higher in a lot of pairings than he is in there because his whole ADP has moved since basically that was released.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder when we're going to get another, maybe like a monthly thing.
I'm hoping that the people bitching about it didn't just make them stop doing it.
Me too. Do you have a preference here? Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, always fun.
So he's 2% with Adams. He is 4% with Smith and Jigba. He's 1% with Hall. It doesn't matter.
I think we need a receiver here.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
Yeah, Adams is one too that I am trying to get more of now. I was just never getting him for whatever reason.
I've drafted a fair amount, not like Emo Cowboy who has like 40%. I've not gone that crazy with Devontae Adams, but I think he's a totally like acceptable person to bring up to the 2-3 turn. Like if you took Devontae Adams a 2-3 turn, I don't think that's unreasonable at all.
He's just like so much less washed in real life than he is in my brain.
Yeah, and I think that's true for most people. Thoughts on Zach Wilson?
Who does he play for?
Yeah, I'm not drafting any Zach Wilson. So have not given a ton of thought. I'm trying to. He plays for Miami, I believe. Yeah, I think he's Tua's backup.
So he's a starter by week 6.
Which is part of the. So I early on was like really out on Tyreek Hill because when they still had Jonnu and like a better defense, and then they traded both Jonnu and Jalen Ramsey, and suddenly I'm like, oh, like there you can see the upside with Tyreek Hill is enormous. But like so part of the reason I was out on him, and the reason I remember now that he's on Miami is that Tua is like, he was so bad last year whenever Tua was out. Like Tyreek Hill was just like did not have big games, and now they have Zach Wilson as a backup quarterback. Does not feel like much of an upgrade to me. So
the inverse of what you just said is why I have a decent amount of Hill though. I think like obviously people are just assuming Tua is going to get hurt at some point, which certainly could, but like I feel like people are kind of just like lumping last year being a down year. They're just like, oh, Tyreek Hill had a down year, whereas like he was fine with Tua. He probably ran pretty bad in terms of actual fantasy production. Like I think got kind of unlucky, but like he was still productive with Tua. He just was useless without him.
I guess I have not looked closely at those because Tua didn't actually miss that much time though, right? Like I feel like he missed
he did
like 4 games, maybe something like that, which is like not nothing, but so yeah. But part of the reason that I've been out on Tyreek Hill is just like you look at his last year. Tyreek Hill didn't miss any games. Maybe I need to look closer at that overlap with Tua. It was like Devin Achane was like amazing with Tua.
Yeah, I mean the offense was just
it's a lot better. Yeah.
6 games without Tua, 9.5 DK points per game for Hill. 11 games I think with him, like 15.5 DK points per game.
Okay.
And again, I think he ran, if I remember correctly, he ran kind of bad on touchdowns.
Okay. Maybe that's true.
I remember arguing with Dean a lot about if Tyreek Hill was like a good weekly play or something. And Dean was just like, I remember Dean's argument was like, well, the Millie Maker winner didn't have him. And it was like, okay, well, the Millie Maker winner doesn't have a lot of people.
Right. George Kittle's still here. Kind of a nice fall for George. Oh, we already have Brock Bowers. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is.
Ted McMillan, I like on DraftKings. We could go Jaden Daniels, try to backstack it.
I don't know. I don't like backstacking Daniels that much just because I like the mid-round quarterbacks so much.
Do you like anybody here?
I think Tet's fine. I don't think there's anybody like really low owned with Barkley. At least that I found.
The one downside of taking Tet there is we probably could have got him, or like maybe not probably, but like it's not unlikely to get him with the next pick because that's like around his ADP and he's got that Q tag. But yeah, that's true. I don't know. Which it is funny that that's an actual thing on DraftKings. Like the Q tag does push players later.
Oh yeah, always. I can't remember who I got. Somebody like I think I got Loveland at like 155 last night. And I was just like, all right, cool. Thanks for the July Q tag pushing this guy. And it was a team where like my team was loaded, but I hadn't taken a tight end yet. And I'm just like, man, if he falls, like I don't have much of him, but like he is perfect for this team. And he just fell 2 extra rounds.
Clear upside. Yeah. And like if you read the notes, it'll be like, he's looking good. He'll be ready. You know, it's not like just has that.
And to be fair, his is like, they might have lied about how soon he'll be ready. But
okay. Is it okay?
But still, like I don't care in that situation.
Yeah. I like a lot of picks available here. So now we have Xavier Worthy, George Pickens, Kenneth Walker. I love all 3 of those picks.
He's 2% with Walker.
I'm happy going Walker.
5%, 6% with Pickens.
You want to break tie toward Walker?
Too.
True. Yeah. What is it? Oh yeah, Hurts with Saquon is not a bad.
I mean, it's like 18%, but it's not crazy.
We've got some other combos, and it's just a nice spot for Hurts.
Yeah, I kind of like Hurts since he fell.
All right, let's do it.
I mean,
all right, so we're at.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be chasing wide receiver now, but
yeah, but like we're not in a bad spot here. Hurts, Barkley, Adams, McMillan, Bowers.
It's nice that like we're not chasing wide receiver and tight end at least.
Yeah, we're literally only chasing wide receiver. I mean, I guess we only have 1 running back, but like I'm okay with taking a lot of late running backs too. Strami says Quinn Ewers is the backup in Miami. That might be true. Zach Wilson's a clipboard warrior. That might be, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I don't really think Quinn Ewers, from what I've heard, is that amazing either. Travis wants to know where you are pulling those combo percentages so quickly.
Oh, I just took the DraftKings data and have a Python script that I can just put in whatever combination of players, and it gives me the answer.
Yours is quicker than mine. I think you've I can run it pretty quickly. I could run these numbers, but I think you are maybe you've done more work on the back end.
I just
get those numbers.
I took whatever ChatGPT gave me, and it worked immediately.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, same deal. I'm doing it in a different. I'm doing it in Jupyter, which you've apparently are doing it in Pandas, which I don't even know what that means. I think just a different environment that you do it in.
Oh, I use Atom to edit like code usually, but this was just I literally just copied and pasted it.
I see.
I didn't need to edit any of it.
Yeah, same. It's very straightforward. Now that I've started using ChatGPT, I think I'm going to get addicted to it.
There's like so many better ones to use than ChatGPT now too, but I haven't bothered learning them because like I haven't been doing that much.
Right. Like at our level, we're not doing anything. Well, maybe you've gotten a little bit more advanced with some of your like DFS processes than I have and stuff. So
yeah, it's kind of I do less now because SaberSim just keeps building what I want to build.
Yep. True. But yeah, like for what I need, ChatGPT seems to do anything I needed to. All right.
And then I also know that stuff that we have coming out or has started to come out at Run the Sims also is doing what I would want. So like it's when I think about it from like a time standpoint now, it's just like, well, it's not really worth it for me to build my own because I know
Nerdy's working on it.
I know I'm getting Nerdy's in, a month.
Yeah. True. Yeah, so Sidekick seems to think we need receivers. That is intuitive. Exactly what we'd expect. Pretty fun to get Hurts. Yeah, it's like I'm more open this year than I was last year to taking unstacked quarterbacks and just like accepting like, well, he's just going to score a lot of fantasy points, so it'll help my team. Last year, I think I would have passed on Hurts just from I don't really want to risk. What if I don't get Dallas Goedert? Then I just have a naked quarterback. I hate that. This year, I'm much more open to just like,
yeah,
all right.
Well, I don't mind doing Hurts anyway. He's got so much rushing touchdown upside.
Yeah. I do like Jawan Jennings here, Jordan Addison, Chris Olave. Do you have a preference between all these receivers?
I kind of like getting to Odunze and setting up a potential Chicago stack.
That works. Jawan Jennings potentially holding out now too was not ideal.
Yeah. Although I thought the last I saw was that he plans on playing and just not being happy about it.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't actually have any leverage. Yeah.
Right.
They just signed him. Like last year, they signed him to a new contract, which seemed like a huge contract at the time. It was like, wow.
And then he balled out.
And he balled, all the way out. Yeah.
I like Godwin here too. Like I get the, I always have trouble clicking him because it's just like
because of the Q tag.
Yeah, he has the Q tag. He's coming off the injury, but like he was a monster last year when he was healthy in that role.
Yeah,
obviously different.
He goes.
And stuff now.
What about Ricky Pearsall? Sort of moving up right now. I also would not hate that.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
But also, if Juwan Jennings is going to be healthy, then maybe we don't need to. I'd also be fine with Jordan Addison.
I like Addison.
Yeah, I don't mind taking Addison ever.
Pearsall, yeah, I like Addison a lot. Pearsall is the kind of guy that I love on a team like this because I think he's really volatile. But when you're weak, like you're chasing wide receiver, I would rather be getting somebody like Pearsall where it's just like, yeah, maybe he outperforms ADP by 3 rounds. Like he also could underperform by 3 rounds. But on a team like this, I really like that risk. Whereas not that I'm ever opposed to taking a guy that could outperform ADP by 3 rounds. But like if I'm already stacked at wide receiver, it's less of a bonus, I think, to take a guy where he might just kind of suck.
So you throw him on this team, and suddenly, if he does outperform ADP by 3 rounds, suddenly this is like a super team because we're supercharged every other position. So you just take that upside swing and just like, what if we just crush the entire season? Yeah, I like it. We're up to 4 receivers now, so we're at 1 at every other position. Now we're at 4 receivers. I'm kind of liking where we're at balance wise. With so we have Saquon Barkley, Brock Bowers, Devonta Adams, Ted McMillan, Jalen Hurts, Romo Dunze, and Jordan Addison. A lot of quarterback outs, and we already have Jalen Hurts. Feels pretty good.
Yeah, it's gonna be easy to get a second quarterback, third if we want it.
Yeah.
We have the potential like Loveland, or probably not Loveland on this team, but potential like Burden pairing.
Yeah. I mean, we could do Loveland, but also Dallas Goedert you can get for free in every draft, and we have Hurts, so. And we probably we could do 3 tight ends. Like it's not.
Yeah, I mean, I end up doing 3 tight ends even when I have a good tight end a lot, just because you have the 20 rounds and like Noah Gray or Theo Johnson is always there at the end. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, I'll take them.
Yeah.
And most importantly, we are set up really nicely for Ty Felton in the 20th.
Oh yeah, get our guy.
Yeah,
we got to get JJ first though.
Right.
We can get JJ McCarthy. Wheels up. All right, so this next one is 93. So you're really in on Tyjae Spears on DraftKings, and
I don't have a ton of him, but of like the guys in that range, when I need a running back there, I do like him just because I think there's multiple paths to him being really useful in full PPR. There's also the path to like Tony Pollard just being the guy, which would suck, but like he can. I think it's pretty likely that you at the very least have the game script games where Tyjae is just catching a bunch of passes. And then like, obviously if Pollard gets hurt, it's great. Like Spears would be really good. Probably. I think there's a lot of outs for Spears to be good.
I disagree with your statement that it would suck if Tony Pollard is awesome, because it would be great for me if Tony Pollard is awesome. Because I think that I actually really like both. I think both are really great bets also, but because I draft so much Tony Pollard, then I end up being like, I don't think I want both. So I do less. So maybe I need to more often leave that spot for Tyjae Spears. But yeah, I think both are like just really strong bets where they go.
I also like Spears in drafts where I am chasing at quarterback, because I think it opens up Ward enough that like I don't mind stacking them and then getting, because I haven't really like Lockett much, but
Jordan Mason, Jalen Warren, we're on the clock by the way. Travis Etienne.
I think Jordan Mason.
Oh, Jaden Higgins.
Sure.
Because we can get one of those 3 probably to come back.
Mooney's still there.
Do you like Mooney better?
I mean, I have like no Higgins, but
okay, that's right. We got to get some Higgins exposure, because I think he's going to be good.
But yeah, and again, like it's not that I have no Higgins by design.
Yeah.
You get the Mason, if he's still there, correlation with Addison too.
Yep. Yeah, Mooney goes pretty late. If I had more time to think about it after you said it and find the name, I just couldn't find him right away. But I really like Jaden Higgins. I think he's just a strong bet. So Tracy goes. All right, so we're gonna get one of the 3 running backs we named, at the very least.
Who was the third?
Travis Etienne.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which I'm pretty happy with that. Andrews goes. All right, we can go Jordan Mason. Love to see it.
Yeah, he's only 5% with Barkley too. Not that it really matters, but like he's 5%, ETN's 10%.
Yeah, so some nice combos. I mean, we just started with the Barkley Bowers just already.
Well, once you start Barkley Bowers, I'm just like drafting for value the entire time anyway.
Yeah, just get the best available. Yeah, for your team. No, I feel 1, 2, 5, 1 were nice and balanced, and we like the 5 was not from a position that we got early, so we're feeling good about it. Mr. Groover says Chris got a really nice start. Let's take a look at Chris's start.
He got like the nut start from 12.
Yeah. It goes McCaffrey, Genty. Then he goes straight with the wide receivers, Mike Evans, DJ Moore. Nice little fall on Zay Flowers and Travis Hunter is pretty nice. Matthew Golden.
I really like that.
Caleb Johnson. Yeah, that is a really nice team.
Yeah, Caleb Johnson I don't have a lot of, but I like when I get him on a team where like I like when I can get him at the spot where like I don't really need anything. Like obviously you don't need him when you have the running back start that he got. But it's still doesn't hurt.
Yep, agreed. Nice start there. What up, WFN? Good to see you. Adam, have you had to do any commercial reads since you've been at Endgame Syndicate?
No, I didn't. I saw yours when I was I heard yours when I was in the other room, and did not know those were a thing.
Yeah, it's the first one that I've done since I was at Stochastic, I think. I mean, I do like occasionally I'll like talk about the Fantasy Points data suite or like talk about whatever other products.
I mentioned in my intro.
Usually you mentioned Endgame Syndicate and stuff.
But no commercials.
I've thought about redoing the ad read there just because I was so tired on the day I was doing it, and it was like, it's one like when you read the ad and you're tired, it's like I can't, like I'm trying to memorize this, so I'm like looking at the camera instead of just reading it, and I was just like I totally like flat affect, just like so tired. So I should try to do this with a little more energy, but like I'm probably not going to. Let's just be realistic.
Yeah, I mean, where I'm at as far as marketing and stuff is just got new thumbnails. Shout out to Davis for just making those and sending them to me and being like, hey, here.
Yeah, I could use new thumbnails. I should talk to Davis. Trey Harris, but I don't pay him like Endgame does.
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy here seems like the pick.
Yeah, it seems like a good pick.
Could go Trey Harris, Zach Charbonnet, Luther Burden, but just get our guy.
Yeah.
Good. That's what I wanted to do.
We got Mason earlier too, right?
Yeah, we got Mason, we got McCarthy, we got Jordan Addison. And then we have the potential for late round Ty Felton. Or if somebody snags him, we go Jalen Naylor. Not the end of the world.
McCarthy, Mason, Addison, 4.5%.
Wow, nice. That kind of surprised me because they line up well too.
Yeah, McCarthy, Addison is 32%. McCarthy, Addison without Jefferson. That's not how you spell that. McCarthy, Addison, excluding Jefferson, is 17.5%.
Okay.
So, like, basically half of the McCarthy, Addison lineups also have Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, that's interesting. I definitely would not have guessed that.
It's just
I
so
don't feel like it's that common. Yeah. Do I want to go Ty J. Spears here?
Yes, I do. I don't remember how many running backs we have, but yeah.
We only have 2 so far. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
I don't have enough Javonte. I feel like he's kind of similar to Dobbins. Like, not necessarily as a player, but like in the way that I view him, where it's just like, I don't want to click on it, but at the same time, like he's on an offense that probably will score points. They don't have like a clear good running back. It could be him.
Yeah, no, that is true. It's tough because like with Dobbins, you can picture like a long run. You're just like,
Right,
I think
yeah.
of J.K. Dobbins, like I can just picture a 50-yard touchdown that I'm super excited about or super disappointed in. Whereas Javonte Williams is like, he might be able to pull off a 15-yarder at some point.
Right. Javonte Williams, I can picture him running 4 yards at a time like Ezekiel Elliott's done for the last 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah. CW, he's pulling it from Python, a code that he's running in the background.
The percentages, though, are from the DraftKings like network page that they released.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's one of my past videos, I referenced some things from the DraftKings data, and somebody asked where to find it. If you just like Google DraftKings best ball data, there's a DK network website that comes up with all of it's just a list of their drafts through June 27th.
Yeah.
So it's all a little bit outdated what we're talking about now. Don't know how often they're going to be doing updates on it, but it's the best data we have is as of June 27th.
I think a lot of them probably are pretty stable, like especially the first round combination stuff. Like as long as people's ADPs haven't moved too much.
Yeah. No, I think that's true.
But like the Tyreek Hill stuff, like I think Hill's paired. I talked about it in the Endgame video, but like Hill is paired with Jamar Chase 5% of the time, and like everybody else around Hill in current ADP is 12 to 22. But like I bet now Hill's up to like 10 to 12.
Yeah. Dallas Goedert goes.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got and Javonte Williams. I was going to say we might get a nice fall there. So that is a bit unfortunate. I was hoping to get Dallas Goedert back here, but we weren't going to take him at 124, so it is what it is.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
Oh, to a 3 tight end team. That's interesting. We go Luther Burden, Jake Ferguson. Do you have
I think I like Burden. You get him with a Dunze.
I like taking Burden. Like he's just too cheap, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I have a lot of him because like normally I'm just not taking wide receiver at this point.
Yeah.
I'm on to like the Ray Davis range of running backs usually. But or the Jake Ferguson, Goddard tight end. Normally I'm chasing either running back or tight end at this point. But I think he's a first round rookie wide receiver on what could be a very good offense that he could be really good.
Yeah, no, I draft a ton of him. But yeah, he's sort of like the exception for like I reach back to get a wide receiver here if I need it. Fits this team. We're now at 2, 3, 6, 1. And we got Barkley in the first round, so still doing okay, I think, at running back.
Only 5% of teams have Hurts and Barkley with none of Brown, Goddard, and Devontae. So just need the Eagles rushing touchdown season.
Yeah. Maybe Saquon catches a couple.
Yeah.
In week 17. That'd be great. Or really frustrating after we're eliminated week 16.
Right.
Which has been my best ball experience to this point for the most part.
Yeah, when Mooney goes off and Higgins sucks, and I bring up that you just couldn't find Mooney to click him.
Yep. Do we want to go Stafford? We do have Devontae Adams for third quarterback. We go Jake Ferguson.
How many running
Dobbs? We only have 3 running backs so far.
I know like Ray Davis. I think Stafford would be fine too.
We don't.
I kind of like Ray Davis on this team.
Yeah,
and in general.
Let's make the bet on Jalen Hurts and JJ McCarthy being enough. We can throw on another quarterback later if we decide to, but
yeah, like that's it should be fine.
What the leg up people have not accounted for is JJ McCarthy throwing for 5,000 yards this season. They just haven't figured out that he's going to do that. While Jordan Mason also rushes for 1,500 somehow. Yeah, feeling good about the team so far. How are you spending your All-Star break?
Not doing much of anything.
Have you made it to the poker room yet?
No, I played online a little bit.
Okay. You said that you had to force yourself to go to the poker room.
Yeah.
I assume it's like free money, or like you can generally expect to come out with a profit there. Is that accurate?
Yeah. It's pretty solid. Like it's not the biggest poker room. There's 2 other ones in Maryland that are way more popular, but the action's actually pretty good for relatively limited tables, especially like the one time that I was actually going consistently was like last March. And I would just go and play overnight, and it would just usually get down to like one table of people playing, but it was just people like throwing money around, and was a lot of fun, other than the sleep schedule. But then I kind of got out of the habit of going, and it's like, it's only like 2 miles away, but it's 20 minutes with the way you have to drive there. Okay. So it's like just far enough where it's annoying.
Yeah, that is annoying.
Where it's like, I'll be like, oh, maybe I'll go play poker. And then I'm just like, I don't really want to.
Yeah. No, that would probably be a big enough obstacle for me. You can't just bike there? Is that not a thing in Baltimore?
I mean, I could, I guess, like if I had a bike.
If you had a bike, okay. There's the
option. I could walk there, like it's walking distance.
Yeah, sure. Oh, Dylan Sampson. I guess you don't like the Cleveland running backs.
I mean, he'd be fine. I'd rather go Algier.
Would like, I? I mean,
I'll allow it over the Browns.
I'll allow it. Okay, we'll go Algier. Yeah. So Dylan Sampson is just like I think he could move up to being a 10th round pick, like in a couple weeks, depending on the news we get on Judkins. So that's the reason to take him. But like, even if he does,
I still don't know how to draft him in the 10th round.
Right. Fair. Sampson goes. Looking like we might need some wide receiver help. Who do we have? So we have Devontae Adams, Ted McMillan, Romo Dunze, Jordan Addison, Jaden Higgins, Luther Burden. I mean, that seems like we have strong start.
We don't have much of a floor.
Yeah.
Like this is a team that you look at in week 13, you could just go like, holy shit, my receivers suck.
Yeah. Or you could be like, my receivers are amazing.
Like, yeah, damn, I have 6, third round or better wide receivers.
Yeah.
Should I be drafting Jadon Blue? I just like keep not having any of him because like I always click like Ray Davis over him.
He's very polarizing. Do you like any of these? Josh Palmer, Pop Douglas? Who do you like for some floor?
I mean, I guess Palmer. Just again, I'll just take Bills guys when in doubt.
Yeah. No, I think I like both of those picks quite a bit. Yeah. So Jadon Blue is. I've talked to some people who think that there's a high likelihood that he's a 0 this year, that they just don't use him like at all. And other people are like, the only running backs ahead of him are Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams, who are both seemingly pretty dusty. He's the only one who has some juice. Like I think he's mostly like, I think, a pass catcher. Okay. So I think he probably makes some sense on DraftKings. Like he's probably going to carve out some role as like a pass catcher who, I don't know how much I don't think he even has that much breakaway speed. I think he's just like a really good pass catcher. So probably we should be drafting some. I haven't drafted a ton of them either. So
I always have trouble. Like it's kind of what I feel like it's kind of a similar situation to where I was at with Lloyd last year, except for like a less crowded backfield. But it's like, I always have trouble at like the 140 to 150 spot, taking the guy like that when like, I can take a guy in Davis that I think has a lot of touchdown equity on the Bills. I can take Eckler that I know is catching passes for the Commanders. I can take Garendo, who I know is a stud if McCaffrey gets hurt. And then on the other hand, if Javonte Williams gets hurt, there's no guarantee that it's not Miles Sanders or just a really gross backfield mix. Like, not that like I care about having a guarantee at pick 140 or whatever, but there's just like that whole group Algier where I know he's a stud if Bijan gets hurt and has some value even without him or without an injury.
There's just a lot more clarity. Like everybody named is just like there's clarity on what their role is, like what you can expect. Like you can see the path to, and whereas Jadon Blue, it's like I don't really know if he has that path.
And it's like there is like the uncertainty does in some ways work in his favor. Like, for a fact, Tyler Algier is not just going to be RB1 ahead of Bijan. There is some non-zero chance that you just go into week 1 and it's just like, oh, wow, he beat out Javonte Williams. But like, also there's a lot more risk that he's just not involved than like 10 other running backs you can draft at the same spot, basically.
It sort of feels like Deuce Vaughn, like for pattern matching on the Cowboys.
Except for
maybe he's totally wrong.
I assume he's not 5'6".
Also accurate. Yeah, probably. Jalen Knoll, Michael Wilson, Calvin Austin. Anybody you like here?
Kind of like Noel. Like we have Higgins, so you get the another piece of Houston.
Bet on those Houston rookies.
Yeah.
Had this conversation with JSU yesterday that I think we all, as basketball fans, just want to call him Jalen Noel, but football guys have told me I seem to pronounce it Jalen Noel.
Yeah, it's automatically Noel.
Jalen Noel. Me too. Yeah, but I think that's just because of the basketball player.
Yeah, that's just how I read that name.
Adam, I think I just had something happen, like my ear might have popped or something, and I suddenly everything's way louder to me than it has been. So I had a plane ride in May. In May, when I went to Toronto, I was experiencing like sinus issues and had like the worst pain in my ear, and like I like couldn't hear for a little while, or like really hard to hear for a while. And I was like this, like waiting for like, when is my ear gonna pop, or like I'm gonna get my hearing back? And I think it just happened like literally moments ago, where it's like, oh, suddenly everything's way louder. And I think that it's like literally been months of just like my hearing is not fully back. I didn't feel like a pop or anything. It just like suddenly it's like, oh, my hearing.
Yeah. That's always a nice feeling when like it's been so long that you forget about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh wow, I hear.
Yeah. Very strange. Very strange. But good. Good to have me hearing back. All right. So we are 2-5-8-1. So yeah, a tight end might make sense for us. We're up to 8 receivers now.
Yeah, tight end's probably good. That's one thing I've been doing a lot less of this. I've been doing a lot more like 3 quarterback, 3 tight end builds, as opposed to in the past, like 2 tight ends, 2 quarterbacks, saying like, hopefully this works out, and then having, 10 wide receivers or something.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm hoping that helps with just advance rate this year in general. Like, just
do you have a preferred tight end, by the way?
Probably Theo.
I go like Theo and Jatavian Sanders to me feel like the exact same bet. Like, but I might be totally wrong with that. I think I more often go Jatavian, but yeah, it's just like maybe they're ready for a breakout. Like
I'd have probably waited on Theo just because you usually can.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Lundar, good to see you. Asks, you guys drafted a Naylor since you both drafted Felton. Think he's wide receiver 3 for a good part of the season. I've drafted some Naylor. I draft more Felton just because I feel like the upside is better.
Yeah. I don't know that I have any Naylor. Like, I think I agree that he's probably wide receiver 3 for a lot of the season, but I also don't really know how much value that brings. Like, I'm not drafting Ty Felton because I think he's going to be wide receiver 3. I'm drafting him because, like, one, if he ends up being wide receiver 3, then cool, he has value right out of the gate. But I'm drafting him because, like, if Jefferson goes down or Addison goes down, I think there's, like, if he ends up getting forced into a bigger role, like, he just becomes a player in that offense. And you and I talked about it too. Like, I obviously don't have any sort of takes on his talent other than, like, I know he went to Maryland, and I know that he screwed me a lot in college football because I wouldn't play him and he'd go off. But like, the Vikings and the Lions, talking about Tesla earlier, like, they are competent organizations with good, at least, and we I guess don't know without Ben Johnson what the Lions offense is doing, but like, we know that the Vikings have a very good offensive mind that, if they're like, we like Felton in the 3rd round, we like what we see, whatever, they probably have envisioned how he fits in to their offense, and like, they're competent and they can get him involved if they need to. So I think it's more of an upside play where, like, we saw Naylor last year, and like, yeah, he
do you like Marshawn Lloyd here?
Yeah. Like, he returned 20th round value, but like, I don't know what would need to happen for Naylor to like be a winner, like a winning play.
Yeah. Whereas, like, well, he scored like 6 touchdowns to get to his to return value, and I liked him last year. Yeah, he wasn't that good from like a yards per route run, which I guess yards per route run, one of those stats that I'm always like, well, maybe that's just because he's playing with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, and just like he's going to run routes and not get the ball. But like, I don't think that he was an amazing player last year. I think he probably is replaceable. So the fact that they went out and spent draft capital to get Ty Felton, and the fact that like the beats are saying right now that it's Naylor ahead of him, I don't think means that much. Yeah.
To me, it's kind of just like, when I'm drafting in the 20th round, I like in this situation, I prefer not knowing how good Ty Felton is over knowing how good Jalen Nailor is, or at least thinking how good Jalen Nailor is. Because it's like if everything goes right for Nailor, like he's a solid value. If Felton, maybe he's just good, and he for whatever reason, gets his way onto the field, and it's just like, oh shit, this guy's better right now than we thought he was. So like I like the uncertainty that he offers.
Tosh Brooks, Blake Corum, Trevor Etienne, Jordan James,
I don't care.
Woody Marks.
I kind of like Etienne here since we have. Didn't we take somebody from?
We just took Jatavian Sanders. Yeah.
Sanders, yeah. And since you had mentioned he hasn't been drafted, which I hadn't even noticed.
Yeah. Could have changed a little bit since then, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like I assume it's gone up,
but not that much, I don't think.
Right.
All right, so we are coming up on our final pick. We're at 2-7-8-2. Saquon Barkley, Brock Bowers, Devontae Adams, Ted McMillan, Jalen Hurts, Rome Odunze, Jordan Addison, Jaden Higgins, Jordan Mason, J.J. McCarthy, Tyjae Spears, Luther Burden, Ray Davis, Tyler Algier, Josh Palmer, Jalen Knoll, Theo Johnson, Marshawn Lloyd, and Trevor Etienne is the team so far. I don't know what we need here. We
have our weakest wide receivers? Knoll and
Burden and Palmer.
Yeah.
Feels pretty good.
Yeah. I feel like
running back, maybe sort of thin, but
was it Barkley?
Mason. Jordan Mason is our RB2, and then Tyjae Spears, Ray Davis, Tyler Algier.
I like having Davis and Algier on this team.
Me too. We just have so much contingent upside on this team.
I feel like I would either, depending on what tight end is available, I would either go tight end 3 or another wide receiver. Richardson's not still there, right?
Anthony Richardson?
Yeah.
No. Jackson Dart is there. And we did not take Theo Johnson.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did. I wouldn't hate that.
Oh, wait, so we already have 310. Did we not take Sanders?
We did not take Sanders. We took Theo Johnson over Sanders this time.
Yeah, so I wouldn't mind Dart either. I'd probably either go Dart or if there's like a tight end that we like, but Noah Gray already went. He's the one I had in mind.
All right, so and there's also Ty Felton that we talked about earlier is an option.
I think Jackson Dart.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's go Jackson Dart. That's fun. All right, so the final team here. Saquon Barkley, Brock Bowers, Devontae Adams, Ted McMillan, Jalen Hurts, Rome Odunze, Jordan Addison, Jaden Higgins, Jordan Mason, J.J. McCarthy, Tyjae Spears, Luther Burden, Ray Davis, Tyler Algier, Josh Palmer, Jalen Knoll, Theo Johnson, Marshawn Lloyd, Trevor Etienne, and Jackson Dart. So we've got Jackson Dart with Theo Johnson. We've got J.J. McCarthy with Jordan Addison, Jordan Mason. We've got Jalen Hurts with just Saquon. But I feel good about it. I think it's a pretty strong team overall.
Yeah, I think it's a good team. And we got the very unique pairing.
Yeah, rare combo at the top. I mean, this team could just dominate in the playoffs if things go right for it. And a new cool thing on DraftKings, by the way, if any of you have not played DraftKings recently, they have made some really nice changes. For example, you can download a screenshot of your full roster, which for a while you couldn't do that. You'd have to multiple screenshots to get that full picture.
Do that.
Yeah, you can do that now. You showed something. I think it was you showed it on Twitter at one point that you can also
gone.
Oh, it's gone. Okay,
I think
where you could see the team before you clicked into it.
Yeah, it was. If you went to the upcoming tab on my contests, it just had a list of your team, and then now it's gone.
Interesting. Okay, see, I never saw it, so I was like, I don't know what I'm missing here. I wonder if I can.
Yeah, now it's back to just what it's always looked like.
Okay,
but yeah, it used to just say Saquon Barkley, Brock Bowers, whoever your third round pick was.
Maybe they're having a bug or something with that, because that's I'll reach out and see if I can.
It was so much better than what they currently have.
That is unfortunate. Yeah, thank you for drafting with us, Chris. Yeah, Lundar says true. Felton could finish as the legit deep threat. Thanks, fellas. Yeah, thank you all here. Got to click on best ball link. Best ball link. You think it's there somewhere? Best ball. Upcoming. Best ball. Oh yeah,
Oh,
here.
it is still there. Okay.
Nice. So you can get kind of a preview of what your team looks like. Yeah, so they're making improvements. And I've talked to they're the head of fantasy there, just like about some of the things that I would like, and he's told me some things like that's not going to happen this year, like, and other things like, oh, we might be able to do that. So kind of cool that they're like open to feedback. They're clearly trying to improve the things that we want them to.
Pass along bigger MLB tournaments, please.
I don't really care about that. Just want them to keep improving the best ball product. But yeah, sure, I could pass that around. All right, this was a lot of fun, Adam. You're, I assume, not doing any more content during All-Star break. Is that correct, or do you have anything coming up?
I'm doing we're not drafting, but I'm doing a show tomorrow morning with what's his name? Somebody that asked me to.
Like as a guest?
Yeah.
That'll be somewhere tomorrow morning.
Completely blanking.
On what topic? Is it a best ball or?
He just kind of wanted to talk to me about just more of like a just general chat, like best ball related. But we're not drafting a team.
Okay, and it's not JJ Zachariason who was on here earlier.
Let me just look.
Eric Bime for.
No, it's Big Low.
Oh yeah, I know him. Okay, so you're gonna do the like draft or pass thing? Look through his. Are you familiar with his website? Okay, cool.
But yeah, we're doing that at 11:30. But yeah, other than that, no, I'm not doing any content.
Are you gonna wear a mask for his stream?
I'm not.
Okay, he will. He'll be wearing a mask.
Okay.
So prepare for that.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we'll check that out tomorrow on Big Loaf's stream, and then you'll be back, I assume, whenever MLB's back.
Yeah, Friday.
Cool. All right, sounds good. Well, check out Endgame. Check out Engame Syndicate if you haven't already done so. If you have not already liked this video, subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell to get alerts when the shows go live. That is all helpful, and leave comment under the video. That is helpful for the algorithm as well. Thank you all very much. I will be back tomorrow at, I believe, 3 p.m. again is going to be the time with Rich Rebar and then Kyle Dvorak. Should be a fun show, so check that one out as well. All right, thanks, guys. We'll catch you later.